Okay, I am here with our beautiful and lovely guest, Cynzyy.
Hello, hello.
I'm really excited to have you on. I'm really excited that you were willing to be on. I remember you raided a while back, and I'd seen you here and there, and then I like went and checked out your channel finally and followed you on Instagram and stuff, and was pretty instantly obsessed because you're very multi-talented, and I have a lot of respect and admiration for you. If you want to give like a short bio of yourself, or just kind of like for those of us who don't know you already, just kind of a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Hi everyone. My name is Cynzyy. Thank you so much for having me. I am a actor, filmmaker, and designer. I'm also currently a full-time student in cognitive science, so I do a lot of things. I'm a little bit all over the place, but it's kind of like something that just like I embody. I've been, trying to get more into content creation lately, and I started streaming on Twitch about like 9 months ago now. Though I'm taking a little bit of a break because a lot of my other things are catching up with me, and Twitch was just taking a lot of my time, and I wanted to focus a lot of my energy into more YouTube and then TikTok, and I'm actually currently producing a new film right now. So there's just a lot of things going on that unfortunately haven't been able to stay on Twitch as much, but I'm still really happy to be able to have conversations like this on other people's channels where it doesn't have to be like me controlling everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Okay, so you said you started about like nine months ago, streaming at least. What brought you to streaming?
Honestly, I was just bored. I think a lot of people started in the pandemic because they were bored.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think it was just like sometime in the summer where originally I had so many plans going on, and I tend to be fine because I'm still more of an introvert than a lot of people. So like it wasn't. I don't think it was necessarily like I'm missing any kind of social connection, but it was more like I wanted to do something to entertain myself, but also entertain other people, because I was working on all these other projects that had to do with either content or like film, but I wasn't able to get that opportunity, or like in terms of acting and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was almost that like creative side coming out.
Yeah,
of me,
yeah.
Like, I want to do something.
I feel like streaming is at least a little bit performative, because being on, you still have to be a little bit more of like I don't want to say like theatrical version of yourself, but kind of a little bit. In that you're the entertainment.
You play a certain character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that side really, it was, I think over the last couple of months too, I really think I got more comfortable doing that. Even even in terms of like an acting perspective, the way that I got to play different kind of, almost like characters, but not really. Like I've seen you do that so much on your channel, which I think is like fantastic.
I think
this is, like one of the reasons I was like
came back
to your channel.
one day. You were there one day and you came back to e-girl stream, and I was mortified. I was like, how do I explain what's happening so that she doesn't think that I am just like, Oh my god.
It was really funny.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's absolutely a really fun part of streaming, and I think that, I don't know, because I'm also pretty introverted, and I was doing, I'd started streaming before the pandemic, but I think what I found in the pandemic was I'm very introverted, but I feel like it's one thing when I can choose not to interact with people versus when I'm forced to. Like, I have no option but to be inside and not, and I feel like I would enjoy, like, I normally enjoy like small things. Like if I go to the same coffee shop and I go get a coffee, like just like that small interaction of like getting a coffee kind of thing versus just like being in my apartment just with my cat, like
right
yeah
right. Yeah, I feel that
let's see, oh, so you said you started kind of more so because it was pandemic, and I feel like it was easy to get stir crazy or bored by the lack of things to do. And
definitely.
So is your username pretty much your name?
Yeah, it is. It's my first name combined with the initial of my last name.
Gotcha.
I came back with it like long time back.
Gotcha. What is your favorite thing to stream? Like if you could pick, like when you're on and when you're streaming, if you could pick whatever you want, what would it be?
Oh, Are you talking about like categories, or are you just like in
Like
general?
anything at all. If you could pick anything to be doing.
Something like this, I would say so, because I wanted to, and I did start to pilot a podcast series where I just like brought on different guests and just had a conversation. And I found that it was really enjoyable because you don't really get that kind of interaction anywhere else. And a lot of times I find that the conversation goes into places where even when you're talking offline, it wouldn't go. Because you're more open, you're kind of on the same page of like, here we're talking about just like life in general, and sometimes it goes to places where it's like pretty incredible to see that happen. So I think, yeah, that like any kind of a conversational stream with somebody or multiple people.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because I had talked to someone else, I think last week, the person that I had on, we had talked about how, you know, like as a streamer, you can have conversation with chat, but I think the podcast is a really unique opportunity to get to have a back and forth with someone else, which is, I feel like a different dynamic than just interacting with chat, which can be also good. But I feel like being able to have a conversation with another person and just get to go wherever things take you is I don't know. I feel like it's interesting, and it's kind of, for me, the thing that I like about it.
Feels a lot more, I don't know, like human.
Yeah.
Then, you know, you're just talking to yourself, which is fine. But it's like a completely different level of human connection when you have someone else.
Getting to see and hear someone else. Yeah,
exactly.
Do you have any current favorite stream memories?
So many. They're all pretty wild, because I recently, which was like my last stream, I did a birthday subathon, or not subathon, sorry, a fun-a-thon, donathon, whatever you call it. And there were just so many things, because it's, you know, it's like one of those things where you try to reach certain goals, and every single time you hit a goal, it just gets like crazier and crazier. Oh my gosh, I don't I think one of my highlights was when we got to the last goal I had. Oh, actually, no, was this the last goal? No, the second last goal I had, which was throw an egg on my head. I think my chat is still mad at me. But you're supposed to, like, I put it to say, I will, like, put an egg on my head at the end of the stream. And I almost forgot about it. We were about to raid someone, and then people were like, egg, egg. And I was like, oh, shit, right, egg. And I went to grab an egg really quickly. I came back, and we're going to do a thing where, like, immediately after I do the egg, we just raid. And after about, like, 3 seconds of, like, trying and everything, I did. So I was, like, holding it, and I was, like, really scared, and I, like, went like this. And then it was weird because it felt like something hard hit my head. And I was like, that doesn't really feel like what an egg's supposed to feel like. There was like no liquid dripping, right? And I was like looking at it, and I was really confused. And I was like, oh my god, this is a boiled egg.
Oh my god.
And people were so mad, but I was like, oh, it's fine.
I mean, you did it. You put an egg on your head.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a boiled egg.
Oh my god.
It was really funny, and they were so mad.
That's gotta hurt,
though. It was too late. It was, I wasn't expecting something hard to hit.
Well, because you probably went full force to, because like, you know, smash the egg, and then instead it's, you know, a little bit denser.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh my god, I love that. I've smashed an egg on my head, I think twice on stream.
You have?
Yeah,
oh
I did once. I made it super dramatic. I played like in the arms of an angel, and I, you know, smashed it on my face. And the second time it was, I think I was with my boyfriend, and someone was like, do it. And they just like dropped some bits. And so we at the same time smash eggs on each other's faces.
Oh my god.
I'm allergic to eggs now though. So I guess I can't do that anymore.
Really? Wait, actually?
Yeah. Like it started in November. So if I eat egg, I get hives on my body. Yeah, and I wasn't previously allergic. I was eating egg and just...
Wait, you can develop that? I didn't know that.
My theory is I ate pretty standard amount of egg. Like, I never ate a lot of egg, and I was never a big breakfast person. So it's not like I had egg every day. And then when my boyfriend came to visit, he's a big breakfast person. So we had eggs every morning. You know, we made deviled eggs. So I ate probably way more than before. And I've heard that if you like have a not... If the way that you eat it is not in balance with how you normally eat it, your body can freak out and think that it's like something bad. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
interesting.
it's so weird. I had to go to the allergist because it just like popped up in November, and I'm like, cool, am I dying? Why do I have hives? And I didn't know until like
no.
January. So
Oh no.
hopefully in some
Hopefully
ways,
it goes away.
yeah, that's what I'm hoping, because egg is
like
in
maybe it gets
everything.
normalized.
Yeah, and I'm like, because I was like, okay, maybe I can at least eat egg and like pastries and stuff, but just not, straight up egg. But then I was thinking like that would make fried rice more depressing for me, because like egg is one of my favorite parts of fried rice, and I can't imagine eating it without it. So I'm just gonna keep hoping it goes away.
I love eggs. I don't know how people live. I think one person who is allergic to eggs, and I don't know. To me, it's just so sad because there's so many things that goes well.
Oh my god, yeah.
With eggs.
And there's so much you can do with them.
Yeah, but like all of the, you say like pastry and all of the dessert, or even a lot of main dishes.
Oh yeah, and like mayo has it, so any kind of like aioli dressing or whatever I can't have right now, and most people are born with the allergy. Like developing an egg allergy isn't as common. So
right, exactly.
I'm hoping it's some weird thing that my body is like, hey, just for a little bit. But yeah, so that's been unpleasant, but I'm just hoping it goes away. Oh, what do you think the hardest part of streaming is? Like the most difficult part to you?
I think there are a few things. I think what I've noticed, and I don't think this is specific to streaming, but in general, just living off of social media, it's very, very hard to completely separate yourself from your channel, your brand, or whatever your character is online.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, like, we've had this conversation on my channel multiple times, and I really like to talk about it because I think it's something that everyone needs to understand and address and be aware of. But like, Twitch does a really good job of associating your whatever you're doing with things like with quantities, right? And that happens in like all social media. A lot of views, whatever, likes, followers, subscribers, or whatever the account name is, and they do a very good job of just like throwing that in your face. And the best you could do is just like pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But even then, it's really hard to just isolate yourself from that whole, I don't know, platform, because everyone around you is kind of looking at those things. Like, they keep telling you, if you want to be affiliate, you want to reach these numbers, right? If you want to be a partner, you want to reach these numbers. And a lot of that can sometimes be very mentally draining.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially, I think a lot of people from my community, or like other people that I've talked to, when they see, like, when they're doing so well in terms of like viewer numbers, and then they see a sudden drop, it's like, oh, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah,
there must be something wrong with myself.
Yeah.
Not Twitch, not the channel.
Oh yeah,
myself.
it's so easy to take it personally about like you or the content you're producing specifically. It's interesting because it's also overall detrimental, I think. Like having that hanging goal all the time, like after I reached affiliate. So like in all of their, I think it's all of their like emails after you end stream, they basically show you how far away you are.
Yeah, they email you everything, right?
To let you know how far away from partner you are. And I'm like, like I hit a period of time, like early, actually beginning 2021, end of 2020, where I was like, oh, my numbers are dropping. Like I'm so far away from reaching this goal. And like, it was detrimental to my stream. Like to some degree, it like inspired me to finally like start a podcast or like, try to make a schedule. But overall, like I was so caught up in like, oh, I need to be reaching this, or I need to be doing this, or like, what do I do better? Or like, like you can always improve. But I think that by reminding you of those numbers every single time, it ultimately is more harmful, because then you're focused on numbers and not like doing, like getting on and having a good time.
Exactly. And it's hard to say too, because I've seen people come from both sides, and like I understand, like I know a few friends who are now full-time creatives living off of Twitch and plus whatever else content plays they have, and a lot of times they have to look at these numbers to be like, is my brand as a business growing? Like, can I sustain myself if I continue going like this?
Yeah.
And to me, that's very, I don't think I could do that personally, but who knows down the line. But it's just like, it's a really difficult thing to separate your own worth and your own identity from those things because you're so tied up to it because whatever you create is like you, right? Your image.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do completely agree that it can be very detrimental, especially if you don't even know that's happening.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people don't even realize that it's happening until it happens, and all of a sudden their mental health just drops and they don't actually even know what's going on.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like it kind of, you like internalize it because you see it every time. Like I've started just trying to not look at those emails because I'm like, you know, there's gonna be dips. Like that's what happens, you know, and I think that that's also one of the hard things as a creative is being like, do I have enough clout or whatever, you know? Like this came up in, I started an acting class this week and we had a discussion today about how you might not get hired for, or like get cast in a role because you don't have as many followers on like Instagram as someone else. And I'm like,
oh, that's so dumb.
Yeah, like I understand like their mentality is like that you'd bring more people to like watch the movie or the show. And so like I understand that mentality, but I'm like, that is so dumb to me, you know? Like there could be someone who is way better qualified but less well known. And so yeah, that's one of those that I think I understand what they're saying, but you know, you could make that decision and end up with someone who's less capable to handle the role. And but you know.
No, that sucks. That sucks that that's becoming more of a trend. Yeah, but it's also my whole thing with like social media, just like I have such a love-hate relationship with it, because I know if I had a choice to just like completely leave it all of the Twitch, Instagram, whatever else, or just like drop it and just like run to the middle of nowhere and just like go live my own life. Sure. But to do acting, to do filmmaking, any sort of that thing, or like if you're on Twitch, you have to have your brand up there somewhere.
Yeah, you have to have some sort of presence.
Don't take you seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't use Twitter until I started streaming.
Same here, yeah.
I don't really understand it, and it's honestly
I don't understand it either.
It's been detrimental. That's been detrimental to my health because you know you go down a Twitter hole and people are ranting and angry all the time.
Oh my gosh,
and
don't get me started. I didn't even realize. Like I hear about it. I've heard about it from multiple people who've had Twitter and like before, but oh my gosh, seeing it actually in front of me, it was like, damn, people go off.
Oh yeah, like I've had to take like Twitter breaks where I'm like I refuse to look at it, except then it's like one of those like I have to go and post for certain things related to like streaming and whatnot, because like that's another way to get stuff out there. And it's just so I don't know, again, it's like that love-hate relationship where you're like, you know, I need it and it can be helpful if I do it right, but then also it's so time consuming. One, like when there are so many different mediums, you know, there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's YouTube. Like, I mean, YouTube's not so much social media as it is content creation, but like as a content creator and artistic person trying to make it all work, I feel like you have to find some sort of way to balance all of that and your life and not burn out. And I feel like it's such a big task.
It's really hard.
It can be really draining.
Everybody burns out at some point.
Oh yeah.
Which is extremely sad. But it seems to be a reality, and it's like, how do we actually fix that?
Yeah, how do we transform that? And I feel like, I know I at least have had a lot more burnout during the pandemic, just because also I'm trying to create stuff for that or come up with things for all those different mediums, but I can't go do stuff the way that I'd like to be, you know, just out doing things because of the pandemic. And so then it's like I get into this like rabbit hole of like I have nothing else to do, like I don't know what else to post, because I feel like I've posted this same corner of my room a million times.
So your setup is actually like really nice though.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my
like,
my
I'm
project.
Pretty sure it's like the one of my first streams that I've seen when I got on Twitch was Aya's, and it's just like her setup just blew me away. I was like, damn, this is so nice. I think, yeah, that was one of the biggest things that I did when I moved. I moved in May, I think, to my apartment, and I just kind of like, because I was out here by myself, it was just me and my cat, and I didn't really have anything to do, so I just put everything everywhere, and you know, piece by piece. But I'm pretty happy with how it is now. It's also cozy, so it's a good combo. So cute.
Do you have anything that you have wanted to try in streaming that you either didn't know how to do it or were maybe afraid to start it?
I think I want to try. I think there were a lot of thoughts to do more IRL streams. And I did do quite a few actually back in October, but obviously given COVID and everything, it's very, very restraining what you can actually do. But I thought maybe that's somewhere like that's a path I could do down the line and build my brand towards that. But then I realized there's just so many logistics and technical issues when it comes to IRL streaming. Like I have a friend who is local who does IRL streaming, and she has a huge amount of gear and all
the
the
like backpack
systems.
kind of thing.
Yeah, the whole like streaming backpack.
Yeah.
And all different like cameras and stuff. Like I was like, damn, this is like thousands of dollars worth of investment, if not even more. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to drop that much money to just, because it's supposed to be like for fun, right? Because I travel quite a bit anyway, and I love, like if I could do this, I would love to make content everywhere I go, but it is still something like that's more so for fun. That's also something I've thought about too. It's like it does, and I wonder how other people do it. It's like it's cool to IRL stream, but are you missing out on the actual IRL thing that that's literally right in front of you, right?
Yeah,
that's also been in the back of my head because it's weird. It's cool to show other people what you're up to and all of these fantastic places you're visiting, but at the same time, are you disconnecting from the actual place or wherever you are in order to connect to somewhere online and just like not even taking the full experience? That's been something that I thought about as well.
Yeah, I've done like a few before the pandemic, and I did them on my phone, so it was kind of a crapshoot as to whether or not it would work. Because
mine too. It kept like dying. Yeah, Wi-Fi is unstable, data is unstable.
Yeah, like
the apps are unreliable.
Exactly. Like if I went to go do anything on, like I couldn't use my phone at that point. So it's like I can't do it by myself, because if I exit out of the app that I'm streaming on, then the stream closes. So I have to make sure I'm with someone else. So I did one with my best friend. It was over a year ago. It was like we went to Disneyland for Galentine's Day. And so
that's fun.
The way that I balanced it was that like we went, and earlier in the day we went and we did stuff, because also if you go in to do rides, like you can't have your phone recording,
you can't really
and the reception
going down a roller coaster.
Yeah. So we did all of the, you know, like all that stuff that we want to do in the morning. And then, you know, we did a stream and we went on like the Ferris wheel, you know, and stuff that was doable, I guess. But it is one of those, like, I'm happy that I have, because like I have some of those memories now, like because I downloaded the stream, so I have that forever, which ended up being one of those good things that I could look back on when we really quickly after that entered into lockdown and everything. But then also it's that same, like, I would rather also just be there, you know, be there enjoying the moment with my friend. So, and then if you want to do it legit and do the backpack and everything, I was looking, I was on a channel that I guess kind of specialized in, you know, different stream stuff. I was like a guest host, and they had their own stream backpack, like the, I guess, channel did. And it was like a lot. And basically, because you have to pay for modems, like for all the internet connection.
I saw that.
Yeah, and each modem is like, I don't even know, like to get like 4 modems, it's like $800, I think, and then you have to pay monthly for the phone service. And so it's like one of those that, are you even going to end up breaking even with like what you're making from streaming kind of thing? Like,
exactly.
So it's like it can work to just do it on your phone, but then technical issues, but then you could go the more expensive route, but then it's really expensive.
Yeah, exactly. But that seems like a good balance though that you're able to find when you went to Disneyland. That is something I still think about because I agree with the whole downloading the actual stuff that you film, because I've like filmed a lot of my travel stuff, and I've put them into actual videos where it's like mostly for me, but also for other people who want to go to those places. But it's so nice to be able to just go back, look at it, and relive that whole trip again.
Yeah.
It's definitely not something that you know your memory will probably fail you at some point.
Oh yeah, it's like you have pictures maybe, or you have like little snippets of memories, but then you'll have a clip of something you're like, oh my god, I forgot that happened, and you get to re-experience it.
Yeah, yeah. But also at the same time, I know my friends are like very annoyed at me at some points, or trying to like get shots in it because I want to film it in a very cinematic way, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get shots in like this, and then we spent like 2 hours getting a couple of shots, and it's just like, oh my gosh, are you done?
Yeah, I was gonna say my best friend is an absolute trooper because I knew her before I started streaming, and so I started streaming, and she put up with, because we shared a house at that point out at school, and she put up with me in my room yelling at my computer for a while, or being like, hey, like, will you come do this like stream thing with me? And like, absolute trooper. But I, it's one of those, then I was like, I feel bad because like she's also like the quiet kind of person. Like if she doesn't enjoy it, she won't necessarily say anything either. So I have to always be like, are we good? Like, is everything okay? Like check in. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the things with content creation, again, because of the lines of you as a person and you as a content creator get so blurred, because part of it is, especially if you're not just a character on stream, like if you're more close to who you are, it becomes sharing your life. And then it's like, what do I share and what can I keep for myself? Because there's always a part of me that if I go and do something and I don't record it or take pictures or do something for, content creation, there's that part of me that's like, oh, I should have done that. Like I should have captured that because that could have been good. I don't know. So it's about finding a good.
Yeah, like I catch myself doing that, and I'm just like, oh, why am I thinking like that?
Yeah,
It's like
it's still
this
my
would
life.
be such a good video, photo. A lot of people get together and like go to places and take Instagram photos like that, right?
Yeah.
And I've been there. I've done that. I still sometimes do that, but I don't know. The more you step back, the more you look at it, it's like, does it really matter?
Yeah. I mean, I think that like going to take photos with your friend can be fun in itself. My best friend and I, we used to just like before, and this was before streaming too, like we'd just go like on like little photo shoot excursions. So we'd find cute places around the area and like bring a few outfits and just like take pictures together, because it was like, it's also a fun way to hang out, like, because if you get good friends where it doesn't feel awkward, because like taking pictures with some people, if you don't know them, it can feel awkward, but when you're with your friends, I feel like it can be so fun, and you can experiment more because you're like, you've got a supportive group there. I don't know, I feel like it's also really easy to get hard on yourself about anything that you do, because you're like, oh, is this genuine, or is this just for content, or is this, and just, I don't know. I've been like battling with that myself a little bit, of just being like, all right, you know what? This is who I am and this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it. So long as you're not like harming other people, I feel like, there's no reason to be too hard on yourself about it.
I feel like whenever I did any kind of filming outside of my room, it was just that I'm sure everybody who does any kind of content outside and just like films themselves, it makes you feel so self-conscious, especially people walking by like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, for sure. I know when I was doing the few times that I did like IRL streams, I was trying to be as outgoing as I feel like I am on stream, but in public. And the dynamic shifted so much, because here I can be wild and crazy and say whatever I want in the comfort of my apartment. And then when I'm out around people, I'm like, how loud can I be? Can I, like, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want people to judge me or whatever. And so I feel like it was a subdued version of that, just because you change up the whole environment, and it's for sure a little bit different. And I overthink. So I got super in my head. I would get super in my head about it,
Feel that.
I know that you said you were kind of taking a break from stream. A lot of the first questions that I have are typically stream related, but you do so much else that I'm also really interested in. I want to hear a lot about that as well, because I feel like I know a little bit about it. As a starting point, you can answer this as broadly or as specifically as you'd like. What's your story?
That's the first one. I bet this trips up a lot of people.
Usually it does, yeah.
Oh my gosh. there's I don't maybe that's not the right word, but I've worked on a few projects with some of my clients, right? And one of my clients has been around for like a long time, like design wise and also like development wise, because I do website coding as well. And he said this sentence or phrase that just like really I don't know, really I think embody me. And I saved it, and I have I have the screenshot right here. Because it was just so like, it's funny because I think when I reflect on it, I think other people might feel the same way. He said, oh, this was a year ago. Are you even a human being? LMAO. Sometimes I'm just convinced you're an alien trying to explore all humanity has to offer with superhuman skills. It's right here.
Oh my god.
But like, I felt like it captured so much of what I do said from someone else, right? And I as much as I like the idea of being an alien, I don't think I'm superhuman, and I don't think I am alien, but I do a lot of things. So I think my journey and my kind of biggest value in life has just been to learn, because I'm a very curious person. The reason why I've gotten into so many different fields and I do so many different things, I'm just so passionate about learning. When I see something that I'm really interested in, especially on the creative side, I tend to find that most of the stuff are on the creative side. Like I just want to get to know it, and I just want to do it. Like design. I've been designer for like 6-7 years now, but I started by just looking at Photoshop and being like, this is cool, I want to try something in it, and it just like led to logos after posters after logos of just random school clubs, organizations, but it eventually became even a possible career. Same thing with, I think, computer stuff like coding and development. It was like I had all these designs, but I want to see them come to life. How do I do that? Oh, I'm just gonna learn code. I'm just gonna try it. Like, I'm just gonna go and do it because I'm so passionate and driven about these things. I want to see it happen. So I just go and I just learn it myself. I think that ties into a lot of like dance, film, acting as well. Like, I've been a dancer for a really long time, but it's like that's like one of those hobbies where just like I love physical movement, and when I get a chance, I try to go and drop by a few dance studios when I can. And that somehow led me into acting because some agent scouted me, saw my dance, and was like, hey, would you like to audition for acting? I knew nothing about acting at the time. I knew nothing about the film industry at the time, but it was just like, cool. It seems like an opportunity to learn more about this world and learn more about things. And I was pretty interested in the film side of things as well. And that's how I got into acting. And through acting, I saw, being on sets, I saw, wow, there's so many people behind the camera working on these things. The directors, the producers, all the people on sets running around, bringing like lights and cameras everywhere. Like, it's so interesting what they're doing. And now I've been leaning more into the behind the lens things, and now I'm producing my own film. And it's just like one thing led to another where I'm just curious about something, and I see something happen, I was like, oh, maybe I could try that, and it led to the next thing, and led to the next thing. Yeah, so I hope and I think this will still continue. Yeah, because I don't know, I think in general I just like am very curious of a person at the core.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. I feel like, I don't know, like listening to just listening to you speak about it, I think made me feel more excited just about exploring and learning. And I think that it's such an important skill that it's hard to hold on to, or what I found personally, it's hard to hold on to, especially once I went to college, because then there was so much like it wasn't so much I was like learning for the sake of learning, for the pursuit of it and enjoyment of it. It was like, oh my god, I have to like get a good grade, or I have to like do this. And so
yeah, exactly,
listening to you talk about your passions and pursuing things when you find them interesting, I don't know, like it's just really inspiring to hear and to see, and just the way that you light up and are so animated about it. So one, I just want to thank you for sharing that, because it was really I don't know, it's really beautiful to see someone so curious about the world and so passionate about pursuing just all the different variety of things available. Yeah, so
To me, I think it's also something that my maybe at some point my parents kind of endowed me. It's like the world is so much bigger than you.
Yeah.
There's so many things out there. And I've discovered that too. It's like when you're in a specific place, you tend to be stuck in a bubble.
Yeah.
Like same thing I've noticed about Twitch as well, like being on Twitch for so long. When you're in it, you're just so in this bubble that you're like that Twitch has become your life, right?
Yeah.
But once you step outside of it and you realize, oh my gosh, there's so many other things out there.
Yeah.
For me to potentially explore. And I think that's what really excites me, just being able to see like from so many different angles what I guess life kind of looks like.
Yeah. I feel like that's how I feel a lot about like traveling, because I grew up in like a town in Texas where people didn't really they didn't really want to go anywhere except for like vacation in Mexico for a week kind of thing. And like it wasn't about going somewhere for the culture or for the people. It was just like, let's go get wasted, you know? And like to me, I was like, there's so much to see in the world. There are so many places. Like if I like everybody asks like, oh, like if you could have any superpower, what would it be? And like to me, my superpower would be, I wish I could speak and understand every single language ever, because like I feel like that would be such an enriching experience to be able to go anywhere and everywhere and be able to communicate, you know? Like I just feel like you can have an idea of a culture by reading about it, but when you're there and you're immersed in it, it's such a different experience. And it's so important, and people I feel like don't understand how important it is to, I don't know, understand the value and like the beauty and nuances of how things are different, you know? You go to another place and you have to like shift your entire perspective, because things don't work the same there as they do where you're from. And I don't know, I've never applied that line of thinking to like just different things, you know? Like when I'm in, you know, when I'm focused on Twitch, it becomes everything. That's my whole world. And then I just started taking an acting class again, and I'm like, holy shit, like there's all this stuff still like too, like there's a whole different, you know. And I feel like with how technology is, you can still at least have some sense of all the different things out there, even from being in one place. Is that a flower crown behind you?
Wait, where is it? Right here.
Oh yeah.
I usually wear, well, not anymore, because when I made this was like last year or something. For those of you who don't know, this is a flower crown I made for one of my costumes back in Halloween, because I watched Midsummer and I was like, that is a perfect Halloween costume because it actually looks nice. So I made the crown, and then I wore it on stream one day, and then all of a sudden it just became kind of like the stream symbol. I barely wear it now because it actually kind of hurts.
Yeah.
I didn't make it very well. It's like dollar store, you know, wires put together with a bunch of dollar store flowers. So
do you have anything, so you pretty much pick up and learn anything that you find interesting? Is there anything that you, I don't know, like have your eye on right now, or something that you still want to learn but haven't yet?
Directing. That's the biggest.
Didn't you release something
right
recently?
I did. I actually did. That was so last minute though. It was not. It's definitely, compared to this one, it's completely much smaller scale. So like I think last year around this time, my friend basically bought a really good camera, and he was like, I bought this really expensive, really good camera. Can we just go shoot something? And he just asked me, and I was like, I don't have anything for you to shoot. He's like, I don't know, okay, it doesn't matter, just write something. I managed to get convinced, and I wrote something in 48 hours. We got a cast and a crew together in 48 hours.
Oh my
gosh. Went and shot it.
Dang.
Yeah, it was like 8-hour shoot was not bad at all.
Yeah.
And the final product honestly ended up being really good for what it is, like, because it was so last minute. All of the cast were my friends from my acting class, all the crew were their friends, so I was surprised it even came together that well. But this time it's the same person that asked me, but this time we're actually making sure that the whole process is being carried out fully. So right now we're in pre-production stages, right? So I'm doing like I'm learning so many things behind the camera to like what production means, producing, getting like, I don't know, production designers.
Yeah.
Managing, especially I think this is the biggest thing, is like managing COVID with all of the film guidelines, because there's so many things that you need to adhere to. Casting, I've never been on the other side casting people. I've only been the one submitting to big casting calls, and it's so different.
Oh my god,
and then figuring out like directing is like all the things that are technical, like shot lists, what the angles look like, you know, what you want coverage of, and there's so many things that you never imagine when you're in front of a camera.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's, yeah, I'm sure you've seen it as well, right?
Yeah, one of the cool things, so the program that I did, we learned like part of our training, it was like more film training specifically. So half of our training was theatrical acting stuff, and then half of it was film. So we had to take editing classes, directing classes, and honestly, like, acting is hard, right? It's not easy to get up there and give a convincing performance multiple times in a row to make it look like the first time. But on the set, to some degree, actors have it a little bit easier than everybody else, because
I think so.
we do a lot of prep work, right?
Right.
We do our prep work, we show up and we leave. Maybe we come in for ADR if they need us, right?
Right.
The directors and everybody else on the set have to spend hours before getting everything ready. You know, they have to, in the moment, make sure everything looks good. And after the fact, they're still doing things. They're still making sure that everything comes together. And I just have it, taking the other classes gave me so much more respect for every other role. Because part of our training, we had to make like an intermediate production thing. So we had to be the director, the producer of our own like 3-page small script. And that was the biggest nightmare, like, just because I had no idea, like, figuring out permits, like, the amount of effort.
Like the logistics of it. You don't even think about it. Like insurance. Yeah, insurance that, like, on set.
Things that just are, you know, when you show up as an actor, you're like, all right, I'm here, like, I'll go hair and makeup and then I'll go on set. But like, they're there hours before you are. I had to deal with a difficult actor too, like someone I cast for my class. He calls me like day of being like, hey, I'm at Target. I'm picking up my costume right now. He needed a black t-shirt. I guarantee this guy had a black t-shirt. It was my, like, honestly, and he was like, I'm running late because I'm at Target. And I'm like, okay, cool. But then it's like, you can't lose your cool because, you know, you still gotta work with them. So I was like, okay, just get here when you can, you know, like, what is it? I think it's first AD. That's a hard job. Just being like the right-hand man that
yelling
has
at
to,
people.
Oh yeah, make sure you hold. It's like the position that holds so much power, and if people don't respect it, it can be so difficult, because like people need to listen to the first AD because they have probably the most stressful job, because they have to make sure everyone's safe and everything's up to code too, because that's also, you know, but also making sure everything's running smoothly and staying on schedule. And again, I have so much respect for every other, you know, all the crew positions. Like, dude, I have no arm muscles. I couldn't do sound. I couldn't hold that boom up to save my life.
Right? I think the sad thing is, like, a lot of people don't even know these people exist, right? Because all you see is in front of a camera.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter if the film is like 3 minutes or, I don't know, an hour.
There was a whole crew that put that together.
There was a whole crew behind it, you know?
I think also...
And you don't see any of that.
Yeah, I think that it also, as an actor, is a benefit to you to know about the different roles, and to, I don't know, interact with and respect them as people, not just as, oh, like, I'm the talent and you all work for me. Like, no, like, you're replaceable. At the end of the day, as an actor, you're replaceable.
Actually, you realize that talent actually is very low on the list.
Oh my god, yeah.
To, like everybody else.
I feel like people in the crew, and like, they try to like inflate the ego of the talent to be like, oh, like they at certain projects I've worked on, they're like, okay, talent eats first. And I was always like, why? Like, I was just sitting there. Yeah, I sat there for 2 hours.
I never got that. Like, I actually never got that. You get treated so well. I don't even understand for what. But I mean, yes, you work hard, right? Actors work hard.
And not to discount from that.
For them to get on the project. But like, what about all these other people are literally like standing, has been standing for the past, I don't know, 6 hours. Yeah. Hasn't sat down a single bit. They don't get, you know, they don't get food first compared to someone who's been sitting for the past 6 hours.
At the very least, just have everybody go get food, you know, like just everybody at once. not like, I don't know, prioritizing the talent has always been weird to me. It makes me feel bad too, because like the way that my parents raised me, it's like, you know, you're not better than anyone else. Everybody's on the same level. I mean, obviously, you know, respect hierarchy. Like, you should just respect everyone on set, honestly, not just the director and stuff. But I don't know. Like, you could spend 2 hours sitting there, just standing there while they set up a shot and they set up the lighting and they set up like camera, and they're, you know, you're doing almost nothing. And then they're like, all right, talent eats first. And I'm like, that poor person was holding that light all this time, and you're gonna make them wait. But yeah. Oh yeah. It's
such an interesting dynamic
for sure.
to see. I think like, yeah, compared to other people, like the talent, you know, gets an exclusive, like if it's cold, they get an exclusive person to hold their jacket for them.
Oh my god,
yeah.
yeah.
Like, cut. Okay, here's your jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, you ready? Okay, I'll take your jacket. I'll take your water. I'll take your, you know, if it's raining, there's a person standing next to you with the umbrella. When you're done, umbrella. You know, it's like some kind of personal service or something.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I think that it's definitely a lot of actors get by without having to know that kind of stuff or have respect for it, and I think that, I don't know, it's ultimately a disadvantage to them, and I have so little patience for a disrespectful actor on a set who doesn't have respect, or like the kind of person who at most will respect like the director, you know, or like the person who cast them. I'm like, everybody is putting work into this, you know, like you need to, I don't know, like just treat people as people. It's like a basic human decency thing, and it comes down, I think, to an actor's ego. But yeah, that's something that was definitely eye-opening to me. And the casting process is, because we had to cast our little short films, and that was wild to me. It was also interesting because like you see a lot of choices, or you see someone, or you see this side of it where you're like, everybody's been doing it the same, and you see someone who gets it and you're like, wait, that's it, that's what I want.
That's it, you know. Yeah.
And you don't always know it until it happens.
I think that's also something that's really nice to have clarity about. Is that if you don't get accepted, doesn't mean your acting is bad.
Yeah.
It's just like so many little things, because then I'm seeing it from this side. It's like, oh, I don't know if you look like the character, first of all.
Yeah.
Even if you're great, what if the other character and your character kind of clashes, or whatever dynamic between the cast is also extremely important, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then there's stuff like they're looking for maybe diversity, you know, they're looking for specific ethnicities, all of that. Like so many little things that you don't really notice.
Yeah.
Comes into play. And now I'm like, okay, this makes so much sense now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think the area that I probably have the least understanding of in the process is sound, which translates into my streaming as well. I have no idea how to run sound at all. But
quality's so good though.
I just got a new microphone and a mixer, so, and I barely know how to use this.
That's really cool.
But I figured it was one of those, actually, partially a gift from my mom, but it was one of those, it also, once I got it, I was like, okay, now I have to start my podcast, because I have like, I have a decent microphone. There's no excuse not to. The other thing I think is super fascinating is editing. That's something I found myself like enjoying more than I thought, because you get to play with pacing. Yeah, it's very tedious. That was something that I didn't like, is it's very tedious, but I could sit down for hours at a project, and I'm the kind of person, if I get in the groove, I can't stop. I refuse to stop what I'm doing.
Yeah, I feel that. A lot of people have said, like, how do you just sit there for hours? I'm like, how do you not? I'm like so into it, you know? I just want to finish it.
If you stop, you lose like, I'll lose my train of thought.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And so like, I think it's really cool because also editing is so rhythmic, you know, and it, like, the rhythm of editing is so important. That's one of those, because we had to edit a couple of projects just for the class, and one of them was like a music video. And so figuring out how to edit to like the beat and the flow, or then taking a scene from a really old Western movie that they had clips from, you know, like figuring out how to make it make sense. And like the other thing was how to edit around if you don't get the coverage that you need, which is like the ultimate nightmare. But that was something that I found that was actually a lot more, I don't know, just fascinating than I expected it to be. directing is
Interesting.
still confusing to me a little bit, just because as far as like directing actors, I feel like it can be really hard because sometimes also as an actor, it's like you know what you're looking for, but you have to figure out how to describe it to the
Get in
actor
them.
in a way to
Yeah.
like make them get there without trying to give them a result. Because if you're just like, I need you to be sad,
exactly.
then they're just gonna be like, you know, like, and that's like honestly one of the worst. I remember I got direction in an audition once. I was auditioning for a project at my school, so it was students, right? And they were like freshmen. So I did the audition, and they're like, "Can you do that again, but funnier?" And I was like, what? Like, what kind of direction is that?
Can you tell me how to be funnier?
Yeah, like,
what do you see as funnier?
Like, what dynamic are you looking for? But yeah, so I think it's also good that you went actor to director, because then you also understand. I don't know. I feel like then you have the experience to know, what's helpful, what's not, and like if you've had the misfortune to work with a bad director, then you know like what to avoid and what isn't going to be helpful to the overall process. In like, I know that you've kind of been exploring filmmaking. Is there something like a genre that you're particularly drawn to?
A lot of the stories that I think of, they're very, very simple.
Yeah.
I think I'm just like biased towards very, very simple narratives, because I don't tend to like a lot of the westernized films where there's just so much drama and action and a lot of like fighting.
I feel
for
like
no reason.
like simplistic stories, there's so much beauty to that, you know, and like to recognize that there's enough in a simple story. Like you don't need like CGI, you don't need to have like a magical fireball fight, you know, for it to be interesting. I'm trying to think. One of my favorite movies is Clute. It's from 1971. It's James Fonda and Donald Sutherland, I believe. It's pretty naturalistic. But like Jane Fonda plays basically like she's a call girl and she's like trying to quit. And she also does acting, but she prefers being a call girl because she's more successful at it. And there are these like very simple monologue scenes that she has where she's talking to a therapist. And they're so fascinating to me because it's just her talking to a therapist. Nothing else is happening, but it's just I don't know, it's so based in a natural performance in such a real place. I've just always found it so like, that's one that I can go back and rewatch because it's about this person. It's not about what else they can throw in. It's about, you know, and I feel like at the end of the day, like telling a human story is what we're here to do as storytellers. At least that's what I feel like, giving a voice to people and being able to share a different perspective. Because I think one of the other things that's really neat about filmmaking and about storytelling is that you give an audience the opportunity to empathize with someone who could be different from them, and they would have no other reason to empathize with this person but to connect them to the root of humanity that's in everybody. I think is such a unique, it's so unique to creatives, and I don't know, a really cool opportunity.
Completely. I think some of the best stories come from just like day-to-day things, because these are things are not, you know, because Hollywood tends to make things extra dramatic so that they have a story to tell. Whereas it really should be that there is a story to begin with, and then in whatever way you can dramatize it if you feel like it. But it's so, every story is so rooted in the characters themselves, rather than whatever story plot is going on that makes these conflicts happen. So like whatever I want to do in the future, I really want to make sure, first of all, do I have characters that are actually, they actually feel like they're human and they can actually have a story to themselves. And I think everybody to some extent has a story. No matter how boring your life may seem like, I think everybody has a story, and I don't think it needs to be, you know, involved, I don't know, almost dying or like getting cheated on, or I don't know, getting kidnapped in order for there to be a big revealing story. I
Yeah.
think there's so much, yeah, like what you said, just like the humanity of it. Because I think those are the stories that I want to tell. It's just like those that are fundamental to each and every like just normal day-to-day person that they can even relate to.
Yeah, and I feel like it's such a unique experience to be able to portray, you know, and just show, okay, maybe certain aspects of your day-to-day look different. For example, like if we say, like, take an average, well, I don't, average is hard to say within like an American, you know, but like if you take like a middle upper class white family in America and you compare that to, you know, a like even just two different like classes within America, like two families that are in different, you know, socioeconomic classes, your day-to-day is going to look different as far as what you do. But I think that in the end you can see like the relationships matter, how you connect with the people around you matter, and to some degree you can relate to the pains that are going to matter to you. And I think that, I don't know, like in an era where I feel like everybody's so divided all the time and there's so much hate, it's a very important place to be able to be like, I don't know, to show the pain and show the perspective of someone who, just like you as a person, just like you, feels hurt, feels rejection, feels, you know, all that kind of stuff. But to begin to understand it. And like, again, like this gets more like, I don't want to say like political, because it's about people being people and people respecting that. But like, there are people at the end of the day who don't want to relate, you know, because it makes it harder to hate, you know? And like, and that's sad. But I think that showing stories is our first step, you know, because you tend to empathize with the protagonist or you know, the people in the story, and you connect to them, and you typically, I don't know, for the most part, you want things to work out. And so I think to show from like a first person perspective of like, this is what people go through, you know. And like, I've been thinking about this a lot with I don't know, just because there's been a lot of like rise in violence. I mean, I've seen it a lot in America, but I know it's happening other places too. But like with COVID and everything, there's been like a big rise in violence against Asian Americans. And like, that's something that I'm like, people just see people as other. They don't see them as people living and trying to accomplish the same things as everybody else, you know. And like, to me, it blows my mind that people can't see that. But then to have the opportunity, I actually still haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it was really good. I'm gonna say it wrong, but Minari.
Yes, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm so happy that they got so many nominations.
Yeah, that I'm super.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. Yeah, because everyone on the team is fantastic.
Yeah, and I heard Steven he was talking about his experience, because he was very adamantly against playing like a stereotype, you know, because he didn't want to be stereotyped in the industry, which happens all the time. And how he talked about it, he connected with this character because, yeah, the character is rooted in that cultural, you know, sense, you know, and in that way is not necessarily a stereotype, but more rooted in like Asianness. He found that it's not about that. It's about him as a father trying to do his best. And that's something people can relate to regardless of cultural background and everything. But yeah, no, that's one that because I saw the interview about it before it came out, and I was like, I really need to see this, because that's something I think also, as I'm in a weird place because I'm like half Asian, so I'm like, you know, I fall in a weird little pocket of stuff, but like, you know, I can understand that of like, you know, not wanting to be just a stereotype and getting to expand the stories to be like, okay, yeah, there are absolutely important parts of identity in this, but at the end of the day, it's about, you know, weird fathers, brothers, sisters, mothers, just like everybody else, you know. And hopefully the people who need to see it can see it. But sorry, that was a whole tangent. I've just been thinking about that a lot lately.
I'm glad you brought that up, because yeah, because I've worked on a lot of projects specifically, you know, catered towards that API community, and I also co-founded one of like our biggest Facebook communities of like Asian creatives. And sometimes it's even sad to see, because people within the community are even divided about certain things, especially when it comes to like race.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a sensitive issue. People have a lot of different education and opinions about it. And things like, you know, when it comes to stereotypes and all that. But yeah, like you're right. Like at the end of the day, it's really about being that person first, on top of like, I mean, like aside from all of the, you know, gender, race, or whatever else category you fit in.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then I know like the opportunities are getting better. You know, they tend to be getting better for Asian people. Fortunately, I mean, for people across the board, it's still a gradual process, but we're moving in a better direction, which is a good thing. But it's still one of those, like, as an actor, like if you're starting out, you know, like, do you take that stereotype role because you need the experience to get more experience kind of thing? Or do you turn it down and let somebody else take it? You know, like, is that not being true to yourself? Like, you know, at what point...
Have you had those like experiences? Because I know I have.
I've had experiences like that. And currently right now, so I'm with a manager. I signed with a manager out of college when I graduated. And I haven't been able to get an agent yet. But I noticed in the meantime, before getting an agent, all of the roles that I've been submitted for, in the description, it specifies Asian, which the thing that's been difficult is like, yeah, that's a unique opportunity that I have that other clients that aren't Asian don't have. But then I'm also in this weird demographic, so I'm like, I'm not like a real Asian, and if I get cast, I'm gonna feel bad, like I'm taking the role from someone who deserves it more or would be more representative, you know? Or it's just like, because I'm ethnically ambiguous, they submit me for things that are looking for, you know, like someone who's Hawaiian. Actually, my old agent submitted me for a K-pop musical. I'm not Korean. Like, I showed up to the audition and the people in the cast room were like, what? And I was like, I don't know, I'm sorry. Like, it was so awkward, because I was like, do you know what K-pop is? Like, I'm not, like, so I don't know. My experience has gotten better, but I think it's also difficult as like an Asian client. Like, yeah, it's a unique experience, but you shouldn't be putting them into a box just because, you know, like, I feel like Asian actors should be considered for white roles because it's been predominantly, you know, I mean, like, if Scarlett Johansson can play a character meant for a Japanese person, I feel like I could play, you know, I don't know, Black Widow or whatever. Like, is it gonna be the end of the world? Like, I don't know. It's and that opens a whole other like rabbit hole of things. But yeah, the whole, I don't know, stereotype thing is kind of hard. And then I wonder, like, will I just end up being the like ethnically ambiguous like checkbox in someone's roster? You know, like, you know, did they pick me up because of my ability, or did they pick me up because they didn't have another client that was that looked like that? And like, I guess at the end of the day, if I end up working and it works out, it doesn't matter, I guess. But again, it's like, I don't want to be limited just because of that. Or I feel like we shouldn't have to be limited. I don't know.
We really shouldn't have to be limited.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the shitty thing. It's just, there's only so much that we can do. And then again, it's like, if I get an audition, I'm not going to say no because it's an opportunity, and I can't, like, I'm not in a position really to say no to things. But yeah, I don't know. But then I think about things like, you know, how you have kind of moved into doing some more directing and stuff. And I feel like that also, in an age where we can create a lot of our own content, it opens some doors for us, because we can create projects that are about what we want to be, like, want it to be about. We can play the kinds of characters that we want to be able to play, you know? Like, if I was a writer, I want to write something that's like, I don't know, a simplistic story, or even like a very short film, just because I have a lot of issues, and it's something that's been hard to articulate, especially in a very like socially volatile time that we live in. But like, the experience of being like a biracial individual, you know, being half white and being half Asian, because it's a weird place to exist in, you know? Like, I can't always speak up on certain issues because I don't feel, even personally, I don't feel qualified to speak on it. But it's always, just like depending on the groups that I hang out with, like I'm either too Asian to be white or too white to be Asian. And so it's like that's the kind of story that I want to tell, because also that's my experience, and that's something that I know that I can speak from, you know. And it doesn't have to be like a big, like, you know, I don't need like a giant musical theatrical production about it. It's a very day-to-day story kind of thing. And like that's the kind of stuff that we have the opportunity to make now, because we can do it. Like it's so easy to put together, and not to say like there's still a lot of work that goes into making it and making it well, but it's more accessible to do because we can have cameras, you know, like you don't need like a giant, it's not like back in the day when you had to have this giant like film camera. And I don't know, it's like
there's so many. Wait, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, you go.
No, I was gonna say there's so many technology that's so accessible now. Like even your phone can make some really good content.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the standard of Hollywood, but because there are content platforms like, you know, Twitch, YouTube, and even TikTok, people get creative. Like people have their own avenues of creating now, which I think is fantastic, because then you're not limited by the traditional hierarchy or whatever, you know, standard that Hollywood has set. And I know plenty of people that like paved their own way in through the platform that they've gotten in other places, and then eventually build out to that, you know, place of creation in film that they wanted to. But yeah, like it's so, I think that's really, really exciting for everybody. And it can never hurt to have more creatives in the field, because then the society as a whole is able to, you know, explore more avenues and probably, hopefully, find more talents as well that's, you know, not maybe picked up normally by an agent from these industries. And what you said about the whole biracial thing is like, it's just interesting, because I feel like I find that I really relate to that, but not on the, maybe kind of on the race side, but because I have a few friends that also feel the same way. Like because I didn't entirely grow up in North America, like I was born in China, and I was like, I grew up there until like 10-ish. So my first half of childhood was completely Asian. And then my family and I immigrated over to Canada, and it's like a completely reversal of an experience. Well, not reversal, but just like a completely flip side of an experience. And I've been trying to adapt to that ever since. But even then, it's sometimes I go see certain people who are, I feel like, way more Chinese than I am, and I feel like I don't fit in. But then I go to somewhere who's way more Americanized than I am, and then I feel like I don't fit in there. It's like this weird pocket. I think it's a very like small minority of people, but I still think there are people out there who 100% relate to that experience.
Yeah, I think it's also one of those that's interesting because it's not as discussed, because I feel like it's either like super Americanized or very like other, you know. And I feel like, and that's why I think the human like individual story is so important, because there's so much variety just within, you know, people. Because like you could take someone from two people who live like in the same neighborhood, you know, and seemingly have similar situations, but their day-to-day and their experience, and like I feel like one of the biggest things to me is like the internal monologue of a person is so telling, because not just how their world goes for them, but how they're processing it and how they, I don't know, not deal with it, but like understand and yeah, I guess just process it. There's so much there, even just in a moment, even just in like if they experience an event, because like as a person we're always thinking, you know, and so to find ways to articulate that, I think is so fascinating.
So are you mostly doing like film stuff right now?
So I'm kind of like in an in-between, because I signed with my current manager at the end of, I guess, a few months after I graduated, because we did like a virtual showcase, which normally is in person, but before the pandemic, right before it hit, we recorded a bunch of stuff and they, you know, organized it. So I've been filming auditions for her, But I've been having an issue right now getting an agent, so it's hard to get work because typically agents are going to do more constant submitting. My manager's been submitting in like the interim, but you know, I'm in the stage right now. A lot of agents are terrified because pandemic, right? And they're trying to get work for the clients they already have, so it's hard to get signed for as a new developmental client with no experience. And they're all like, she doesn't have a competitive edge. I don't know what that means, but so I'm taking a class just to be actively doing things. And it's been good to kind of be talking to other people who are, you know, in pursuit of the same kind of craft and to get feedback. So I'm just kind of practicing right now. I've been doing a lot of stuff with streaming, but like you mentioned, the world is so much bigger than that. And so I got definitely super caught up with streaming because it's all I had for a long while, especially amidst the pandemic and all the interaction that I had, really. And so I've kind of taken a step out to expand into, I don't know, a creative space again in a way that, like, I had kind of lost my excitement for acting for a bit because it was like, I have to get hired, like I need a job. Like it was so much more of that than it was about getting to work on things and getting to act. So I'm kind of getting back into that with this class because they're like things that I remember, like, wait a minute, like I get excited about this, I enjoy this. So that's kind of where I am right now. Just kind of practicing, seeing what I can do to, I don't know, stand out or improve in any way. But yeah, I typically get submitted for either film or like serial drama type things.
Wait, where are you based again?
I'm in LA right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in California, raised in Texas, and then I went to school in California, and I've been out here since I graduated. Or I guess when I started.
LA.
But
LA is a whole different sphere of things going on.
Yeah.
I think I was there for like 4 months not last year, 2 years ago. Half for pilot season, but half for just like other things that were going on. And it was such a different experience than what I expected. And I feel like a lot of people feel that about LA. Because it's so glamorized on screen. But then you get there, you're like, oh
my God. Yeah. I'm like, I've come to a point where, you know, when I was in high school and I was thinking about going to school in California, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go be out in LA. And like, now I'm here. I'm like, I'm here by necessity. Like, I'm here because when auditions start back up in person, like, this is where I need to be. If I could live somewhere else, I would. I would pick somewhere else. I'd pick somewhere a little bit more peaceful. But at the current moment, it is a necessary evil.
Yeah. There are just so many opportunities. Like, even aside from acting, of course, most of the stuff for like a lot of people you bump into is just like film industry.
Yeah.
But even, you know, for content now too, everybody is there. So many streamers are there.
Yeah.
YouTubers, TikTokers, just because it's such a close area of like finding people to collaborate.
Yeah.
And you don't know who you're gonna meet.
Yeah.
And opportunities just like happen.
Oh yeah, it's insane. And like, that's the other thing now, that whenever I see people being like, oh my God, like I want to go live out in LA, I'm like, don't do it. If you could pick, don't do
unless
it.
You have an absolute necessity. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you absolutely have to, don't. I mean, yeah, it's a little chaotic, and I hate the traffic more than anything in my life.
I couldn't stand it because it came from cities where it's so easy to just walk around.
Yeah.
And take the transit.
I wish the public transportation. Yeah. I went to I got to go to London for a class that I did in college, and the public transportation there was amazing. Many years back, I think after my freshman year of high school, I went to Japan because my grandma grew up there. So I got to go with my grandma, my grandpa, and my family. And the public transportation there, again, like it's easy. It's like a thing that you do. Like, it's not. Yeah, it's I just wish that it was more of a thing. Like, I could just hop on the tube and be where I need to be. But no, I gotta drive or Uber, and it's expensive. I don't like it, and nobody signals. I'm like, what's the point of having a signal in your car if you are not going to use it? But that's a whole other tangent that I will not go down.
I know. LA is something.
So you're in Canada then?
Mm-hmm. West Coast, so in Vancouver, and there are actually a lot of, so for us, most of the film production has actually gone back to normal.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I think compared to the States, our numbers are way lower.
Yeah,
and,
we're bad at not being selfish.
Yeah. And it has been a booming hub, like,
I was gonna say, because isn't Vancouver one of the big film areas in Canada?
Yeah, it is. And I think even more productions, because of that, they couldn't film in the States, they've come up here because we can film.
Yeah.
Now started productions here. So like it's actually very busy for the people who are in the industry, surprisingly, because there was this time of pause and everything was shut down, but then now that things are going slowly back to normal, there's so many things that needs to be done quickly.
Yeah.
That there's so many things going on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, which is at this point I still have not processed it yet, but I recently got dropped by my agent.
Oh no.
I still don't really know like the biggest reason why, but she said I wasn't getting a good enough response from the industry, which I see like it's fair because she basically printed a list of all of the stuff that she submitted me for and compared it to the number of times I actually got an audition versus the time I actually booked it. And it was like she submitted me to like 225 projects, which is like it's way more than I thought it would be, because I thought it was just she's not submitting me, but it turns out she was, but she couldn't get the audition for me. And I think I got like 6 auditions out of 225 submissions, and I ended up booking one of them, which is a Netflix show that's coming out soon.
Oh, nice.
But it's the ratio, I think she just was not happy with, and she was not expecting. And I honestly don't even know. Like I asked her, I was like, what do you think is the problem? And is there a problem with casting, or like am I not doing something right? And she just didn't have an answer.
The thing that's so shitty is that it's so much chance. Like, because especially when it comes down to like what you've been submitted for, what you got an audition for, that's purely just if they look at your headshot, you know. Basically it's like, is this the look that we're going for? Which that's not your fault at all, you know, like that's not at all your fault. And so, and I think also agents, from what I've heard at least, agents and managers are scrambling because they're not making money, because their clients weren't making money for a while, because nobody was getting cast, no one was getting hired, because nobody was doing production, and the only deals that were being made were for established actors who didn't need to audition, you know. And yeah, that's what she said. I think sometime last year too, is like because there's so many things going on, it's online, they don't have the ability to see new people. Yeah, because they need someone who they already know who exactly can deliver. Given that there's just no room for that kind of it's a bad time to be like a, you know, developmental actor or anyone who's like newer to things, because again, once things start up, even after they start up again normally, it's still gonna be like, I feel like a lot of agents and managers being like, all right, like let's get the people that we already have, you know. And I feel like it'll be bumpy, but my hope is that once things kind of steady, they'll be ready for it. They'll be ready for the influx of people who have been waiting and been ready, you know. And I also feel like it's hard because like I graduated into a pandemic from an acting program, so like people, one, are already having a hard time getting hired for things, and then two, I'm in like one of those career paths that people are like, it's very uncertain and unlikely, and so I feel like I just took like unlikely and added another layer of unlikely. And I feel like that's the case for anyone who's been looking and doing acting stuff right now. Honestly, it's really not a good time as far as, you know, from the agent manager getting cast in like these big production kind of things. But then on the flip side, it also opens us up to making our own stuff, kind of like what, you know, what you've been doing. And I know it's not always necessarily like being in front, sometimes it's being behind, but like I think that will show. And once things start to even out, if you have stuff to show, you know, it, even if it's not on a professional production, if it's just you doing a really good job at a performance or, you know, whatever, like that's still content to show. And like, so when they're ready, because I think that right now they're just not, because they're scrambling. I don't know. And I think the thing that's hard is the bad part of a situation falls onto the actor, because then it's like we get dropped or we can't get picked up, and they don't really know what to tell you. But I think at the end of the day, they don't really know what they're doing either, because it's like, you know, it's a pandemic. They don't really know. No one knows how to navigate it. I don't know, that whole monologue meaning, just like, it's not, the highest likelihood is that none of it was your fault, you know? It's just about a weird time and stupid circumstances.
Yeah, it is definitely, it is rough. I have, so like, I'm not doing this, at least like for me, I'm not doing this full time, right? Which like, I cannot imagine, like, I respect you for taking that career path, because as you said, it's such a like unstable thing, and it's so much relies on chance, that I was like, I don't know if I can do that. Like, I feel like I still need some kind of a steady ground to hold on to, and maybe pursue this on a, you know, part-time basis. But damn, like, it's, I have so much respect for anyone who's actually in the film industry in general.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, just the process, regardless of what side you're on, whether you be an actor or a writer or you know, like a producer or, you know, editor, you know, like it's hard for everybody, you know. And but again, the thing that I find some sort of, not strange, I wouldn't say comfort is the right word, but like solace in, I guess, is that I know across the board, not even just in the arts, everybody's having a hard time, you know. Like, it's not just the arts that are impacted, it's business, it's, you know, like jobs across the board. It's been hard for everyone. And so I don't know, I was talking to my boyfriend, and he was like, yeah, nowadays, like, they're not even sending like an email if they don't want you for the job that you applied for, you know. And I feel bad and I sympathize, or yeah, I guess I empathize, but then I, like, part of me like laughed just a little bit, because I'm like, that's acting. You audition for a million things.
You ever get an email?
Yeah, like, and
whoa,
like,
you get an email sometimes? Nice.
I was like, wait, they told you? But yeah, no, but things are getting so much more hectic there, and like, which also then made me think, like, it's unfair that business people get to know that they didn't get something and we just get to wait forever. But it's, you know, but yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody doesn't know what to do, and like, what was happening out in the States is people would start to hire again, and then we'd get hit with another wave of increased cases, and then they just all stop looking. And I don't know, I think it's going to be interesting to readjust, because I wanted to try to get on-set experience, try to do, you know, being like, doing just like little things around set, being a PA even, just to be on set and to see how it works and to get the experience. But they're going to minimize having people on set at all, like, overall. So yeah, it's going to be like how do I get experience, even though I don't already have experience and I need experience to get experience? Like, you know, it's that kind of like, you need 12 years experience to get this job that is like an entry-level job. Yeah.
So
but
true.
I've been, you know,
I actually heard that the film people are actually considered essential workers in the States right now.
That might
be. I was
be.
just on a call with a producer friend of mine who's from LA, and he was like, yeah, we're going on set, but I'm like, oh, are like, what does the COVID guideline looks like? He's like, yeah, everybody pretty much has to be tested, not everybody, but like most of the people that are going to have direct interactions with each other.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that must be really expensive. And they're like, no, it's free because we're essential workers. And I was like, what? Because I can't afford to test anybody here.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
if you don't have whatever insurance that they require, it's like $600 a person.
Oh my God.
Even if you have insurance, apparently it's like $200 a person.
Yeah.
So like, I have no money to test every single person.
Oh yeah,
set.
for sure.
But it was interesting to hear that, because I guess it's just that big of an industry.
Yeah.
That they need it.
I mean, especially in LA,
going.
like, I feel like that's like a root of the income in LA. And I know a lot of companies, not that, like corporations like Disney will be fine, you know, like after all of this, they'll be okay, you know, but like they're, you know, hurting or upset about not being able to release their movies in theaters, you know, and they're talking about releasing Black Widow in May or something, June, I don't know, sometime soon. But oh, actually, no, LA, I do remember they're opening up gyms, movie theaters, theme parks. It said April 1st, Disneyland's going to reopen, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh,
but yeah, no, I think that they just, everybody feels like they've been waiting too long, which I don't know. I think it might not be the best idea because, you know, we're just creating more opportunities for things to spread before people can, you know, get vaccinated, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, it's such a big point of income for Southern California in specific, you know, like the revenue from Disneyland, like, and also the other thing that's so shitty is like Disneyland's been closed forever. Not like that it's been closed, not like that's the biggest bad thing, but like all the people who work there, all the many people who were employed at Disneyland, all of a sudden were out of work. And then I saw an article right after they had announced that they like officially, I don't know if it's like fired. There was like a word that they used that meant like that they're not currently working for them, kind of thing. Like a weird corporate way to say that people were laid off. And then they released an article being like, good news, the Disney CEO, you know, their salary is what it's been normally. And I'm like, what? What?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, sure. Yeah. All right, Disney. But yeah, I mean, that's all to say that tourism is such a big, important part of, you know, California, and filmmaking is a really big part. I mean, that's why it's been so hard to shut it down entirely too. And I feel like the other thing that I think was like, not like a silver lining, but people were realizing that the film industry, or, you know, arts aren't as much of a throwaway career as they thought. In the pandemic, when we were all stuck inside, people were consuming the arts more than ever in some shape or form, whether it be TV, music, you know, like all the different ways that you can. Because then I heard people being like, well, what are we gonna do in the fall when nothing else, like, there's no new TV because nothing's been filming? And I'm like, see,
you need us.
Yeah. You think that we don't do anything helpful for society? What are you gonna do when you're not wanting to go to sleep late at night? What are you gonna watch without us? Gonna rewatch The Office for a 50th time? You have to get Peacock for that now because it's not on Netflix anymore. And then yeah, and now is the time that all of these different companies are making a million different subscription services, which is hold on, I think someone had asked a question like a long while ago. Let me pull that up. So they said, what is the biggest thing you could tell someone who is willing to learn but is unsure what to learn?
Sure, what to learn?
Like, I think that was more when you were talking like, about you get excited to learn about different things, or when you know, are excited by something, you go and learn it.
Oh yeah. I think for me is I find inspiration in a lot of things. Like I've said before, right? I'm just such a curious person. Sometimes like the most dull and boring thing that people can think of, I find interest in, or just like I'm just intrigued about, that I'm willing to like learn more into it. I think a lot of that comes from just exposing yourself to different things, because you can't really tell until, obviously it's like, you don't even know what you want to learn because you haven't found the thing that you actually enjoy yet, which is totally fine. I think a lot of people are in that boat right now, because you just haven't found somewhere that really inspires you. And I think one of the biggest things I found was really helpful to being exposed to different things. It's just like making friends in different areas. I know obviously that's hard right now, but I think even with the online community, even through Twitch, I think it's like your biggest connection to the rest of the world who do probably like completely different things from each other.
Yeah.
Because you're not just in a school environment or a work environment where everybody's doing pretty much the same things.
Yeah.
Yeah, finding people online who inspires you, or finding, like, even through YouTube, I think there's so many things out there that can hit a spark somewhere. It doesn't even have to be something dedicated to learning, but I think sometimes I get inspired by the things that some people say, like musicians, or even streamers. A lot of chances where, you know, some streamers I like, you know, like they bring in other people, guests, like what we have as a format right now. Like they bring in guests that do different things, and they have a conversation about the occupation or work that they do, and that inspires me sometimes. And it's super interesting. It's like I don't have a one place where I can just like say, oh yeah, do this thing and you'll automatically be inspired to learn something. It's really, really like up to you to go and try first.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just about, I feel like it's just about trying, you know, like just doing something different, you know? And you might love it, you might hate it and not want to keep doing it, but like you got to try, because you won't know until you give it
you
give
don't
it an
know
effort.
until you try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel overwhelmed by, because you do so much. I mean, for one, you do so much, but two, I feel like there are so many things that you've learned. And do you ever, I guess, just get overwhelmed by the amount of things that you want to do, like the things that you want to do versus what you have time for?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest reasons why I had to stop Twitch. Like I want to keep streaming, and I still do, but it's like realistically looking at my schedule, some of the things I want to prioritize is just not possible. And it sucks because every single time I also do this very poorly. Like I tend to burn myself out because I overload myself. There's so many things I want to do this, but I want to do this, but I want to do this. And I think I can handle all of it, and I do a decently good job at handling everything, but it does come to a point where it's just like I've been overworking myself so much that when it all becomes so stressful, I just come crashing down. It's just not great.
Yeah.
Definitely do not recommend. And I'm trying to take steps to prevent that as well. And one of those first things is like, you know, being able to recognize that, okay, Twitch is getting a little too much.
Yeah.
I want to continue, but there's so many other avenues I haven't explored that I want to commit to, and I just can't justify that time anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I feel like there are a million things that I want to do, and like I honestly will probably have to do something, at least time-wise, with streaming, just because with the class that I'm doing, I forgot about, like, I haven't been in an acting class for over a year now, and I forgot how much outside of class work goes into, you know, reading the entire script, not just the scene you're doing, to breaking everything down, to, you know, going through and really detailedly trying to figure the scene out. And it's like I want to keep streaming like normal, but I also want to give my energy to this other thing, to this thing that I haven't gotten to do in this capacity for over a year, you know? And like, I don't know. And I feel like it's so easy to, if you don't force yourself to prioritize, then things just start slipping, and you're not even aware of it. And then, like you said, usually what I do is like I overload myself, and then all of a sudden I just crash and burn out of nowhere, and I'm like, how could I have predicted this, even though I saw it coming the whole time?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also trying to like actively make the choice to do certain things that maybe aren't, I don't know, like things that are like for the pursuit of like learning. Like I want to get a sewing machine. Like my grandma used to sew everything. She sewed all of my mom's clothes. I've wanted to forever. I've wanted to learn how to do it well. Like I made a couple of things with her when I was younger, and so it's like I know how to use a sewing machine. I know basics of it, and like kind of basics of sewing, but like I want to learn, because I feel like what a fun creative outlet to be able to create your own clothes, like to create your own stuff, and like to learn different techniques and like how to work with different fabrics and like that kind of stuff. But then it's one of those that I'm like, oh, I don't have time to learn that because I have to do all of this, and like I don't know. And like I'm sure there are ways to incorporate it to like into stream, like if I wanted to do like, guys, we're sewing on stream. But then in the same regard, it's like I want to do some things for me, and I feel like learning something sometimes is a lot more, I don't know if gratifying is the right word, but gratifying to me if I'm learning it and I get to just focus on it, instead of feeling like I'm trying to learn something but I also have to be entertaining to other people. Because I feel like certain things that you learn, it's really hard to actively really focus and learn it while you're also, you know, entertaining someone else. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I have a solid, like, if I was learning how to edit, if I was learning how to use like Premiere Pro finally after all these decades, but like if I was doing that on stream, I don't know how I would make that interesting, because there's so many like little details that I need to learn, you know, in order to like, because I wasn't trained on it. And like, I feel like I would just feel so stressed to be interesting that I wouldn't get to enjoy the process of like learning something new that, you know, can be used in so many different ways. So I don't know.
I recently got a tablet as well, so excuse me. I wanted to do, because I've done, you know, design and artsy stuff, but I've never done digital drawing before. But I recently got a tablet and I was like, oh my god, this is so exciting, and I can do art streams. And I did do art streams and they were fun, but it's, I think, like you said, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm too distracted to really pay attention to what I'm doing. It feels more of like if I was actually really, really good at it already, then it feels more like a chill, like, work along with me, you know? Like, here I'm drawing, but I'm also talking, but like I don't need to pay too much attention because I already know exactly what I'm doing. But I don't know exactly what I'm doing. So I'm trying to figure out, I was like, oh, is this right? No, it's not right. And then I have to look at like references and look at other people do things, and it just so much, there's a lot of work there.
Yeah.
And I think it's not inherently that entertaining to people.
And also to like, I feel like
distracts me.
It takes away from your experience to be worried about what everybody else is thinking, or if they feel, you know, engaged, or I don't know. Like, I feel like art is one of those that's an interesting area, because a lot of the time art is used to entertain people, but for artists, it's so important to do art for yourself as well, and not just for everybody else. And I think that's one of the things that I find I forget a lot of the time, because I'm like, okay, how am I going to use this in a way that people like it, instead of just doing it to have fun and mess around with something that I enjoy. And I feel like when you work on something like that from like a place of passion and a place of that you enjoy it and you enjoy the creative process, I feel like the end result tends to be a lot better, because it's not about what I think people will like versus what I like and what I enjoy, because that's unique. That's not me trying to be anything. It's just my unique perspective. And I feel like that rings true for a lot of different artists across all artistic fields. But then there's also just such a big commercial pressure to be like, all right, do this for everybody and sell it.
There's things when you have to associate yourself with that. It's like you're constantly worrying about what sells or not. Yeah, which kind of like loops back to like the earlier conversation about, you know, associating yourself as a brand, as a business, and considering all of the business things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. It's branding, and it's so weird, because as like an actor or a creative, like typically you're the product. Well, at least as an actor specifically, you're the product. So you're marketing yourself, which is so weird to me, because I'm like, hi, like I'm the product, I get, like, you know, like it's like whatever I post on my social media, I guess, is how I package myself, you know. And like, but then it's also like, what if I just want to post? Like, I found a lot of freedom in because I have a separate Instagram account for myself as actor. Sorry, my cat's yelling at me. Hello. But so, and then I made my Instagram account for like Ayayoshi, for streaming and everything, and it was really freeing for me, because I just posted whatever I wanted, you know, like, because I was like, stream me, I market myself as a human dumpster fire, so I can kind of do whatever. And I feel like that's been really nice. Hold on, I'm gonna grab my cat. Okay, here she is. There we go. And so I feel like that's been nice, but then it's one of those like, I wish I could do that with my other account, but I have to be careful about like what I post, because that's how people perceive me. And like, I honestly I barely post on it. Since the pandemic started, I barely post on it, because I just don't have the energy. But yeah, it's a whole mess. Social media,
it's a whole
being
mess.
Tangled with creativity is, it can be great. Like, it gives you a place to put stuff, right? But then the stress falls on, how do I manage it? How do I use it to market myself? How do I brand myself? And all of that mess. Hello.
Yeah.
She decided she wants to share the chair.
Thinking of because Oh my gosh, I don't even know how many account. Okay, maybe less now, but I think I used to have more Instagram accounts because I'm like, oh, there's this thing I'm doing, but there's also this thing I'm doing, but then what about my personal one? And I'm just like, oh, this is too many accounts. I don't want to have to think about so many of these accounts. Like, can I just put all of these in one place? But like, no, because they're different people visiting it for different reasons. It's like how people have like a streamer Instagram account. And I was like, should I do that for like privacy reasons and for different branding reasons? But I'm like, oh, that's too much. I really don't want to have to worry about.
Oh yeah, my biggest thing, like, the only reason my social media is separate basically is because of, like, when I created an alternate name to stream under, it's a privacy thing, just because I'm also a hyper anxious person, so I'm like, just to protect myself, you know. But also it's one of those that at some point, if anything big happens with acting or if anything big happens with streaming, I'm gonna merge them. You know, like I would merge them somehow. And then part of me is like, well, shouldn't I merge it now? Because then the followers from Twitch can go to my actor one, and then the people from the actor world, the, you know, casting agents will see that more people care about me, you know. But then I'm like, then it's just like this weird, you know, like I know that I'll blend them at some point, but for me it's just like, you know, deciding when. And like, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like I created it with a specific intention, and like, it's just such a weird, like, there was a period of time in the pandemic where I was alone at the house I was living in, and I didn't really ever interact with anyone except on Twitch. And I like genuinely forgot that my name wasn't, not like actually I know what my name is, but like my name was Aya to me at that point, because I was like, people are only referring to me as this. That's the only interaction I have. And then I was like, whoa, this is a weird identity crisis that I need to
I feel that. Because there's some people that I've connected with where, like, who mostly calls me like just like Cynzyy, which is fine. Like, I'm used to it now, right? But at first it's like, oh, this is so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And then I went over to the film side and I was like, there's no way you can be known as like a random nickname.
Yeah.
Like, you have to put your whole name on it. And at that point I've accepted. I was like, okay, because my stuff has so much to do with, well, now it's going to have so much to do with a lot of the film and acting stuff that I do. Like, there's no way of separating it. People are going to know.
Yeah.
And people already found, I gave up. I think people already found, like, it's not hard at all. Because like your name is on like IMDb and, you know, and certain other places. And especially for like the films that I'm going to do, like, I want to be able to somehow crowdfund some of the expenses, and with that, like, all of your credentials have to be listed and all that through different platforms. So like, I've given up on it, which is sad, but yeah.
I mean, honestly, it just feels like this weird balance to me. Like, it's just difficult, you know. Like, it becomes tedious, and like I've thought about it multiple times, just being like, all right, I'm just gonna connect it, because like you said, like, I have an IMDb, I have like an acting website, and I'd love to connect all of that in hopes that maybe me being out on Twitch opens up opportunities, you know, like, because I feel like I also then end up limiting myself by not just having it all connected, because then you have access to everything I've ever done, you know. Like, I made an acting reel that I just put Aya at the end of, basically, instead of my like actual, like, I made the acting reel, and then I made one version with my personal name for that YouTube, and then one for my, you know, Aya YouTube. And I was like, this is too much work. Like, I just, you know. And then like also my Twitter is way more active than like my Aya Twitter is way more active than my other one, because I forgot that I had it, and again, never used Twitter before streaming. So then I feel like it marketing wise is better to list that one instead of, or to merge them somehow. But I don't know, it's all a mess. And like, it's been comforting getting started, but then I also feel like so many of my friends now are through streaming that it doesn't always make sense anymore to not have it connected. Like, I know a lot of these people that I've met through streaming way better than people that I went to school with for 4 years. So why do they get to know who I am, and you know, just by circumstance? But I don't know.
Weird identity crisis.
Yeah, it's a weird. That's exactly what it is. We'll see. I go back and forth like every month where I'm like, yes, no, wait.
Yeah, it's like those two worlds haven't entirely crossed for me in the back of my head. It's like a lot of my IRL friends don't really know I'm streaming or like what I'm streaming even, because I just haven't publicly shared because it's not something that's, I don't know, you really talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't shared it with a lot of people. Like it's like two separate, it's like a Hannah Montana identity thing where like people know me as me, like from, yeah, like I look exactly the same and I act pretty much the same. I'm probably more outgoing in stream than to a lot of people who knew me in person, you know, but most people who I know in real life don't know that I stream, except for like my family and like my best friend and a few people from school that I was, you know, close to. Besides that, nobody knows. Like I haven't told them about it. I don't post about it because I don't think anyone would understand. And quite frankly, like the people from my childhood probably wouldn't. I don't know. I grew up in like suburban Texas and it's a lot more conservative and I'm not really that way anymore. And I also grew up in like a very religious setting and I'm not really religious anymore. And so it's like one of those that I know like they came through, I say swear words and they probably wouldn't be cool with that. So then I feel weird kind of like also combining that. And then like, I don't want that to impact how I act on stream to feel like, oh, this is someone I know from real life. Like, you know, so it's kind of a weird, I don't know, it's weird. And then I'm afraid like, if I tell anyone from my real life before I combine the two, that they'll come through and like dox me. My sister's done it accidentally on stream where she said my real name because it's like it's hard to switch to calling me what she's called me from calling me, you know, what she's called me my whole life to something different. But you know, it's weird. Why hide it? Be free. Expose yourself to the world. I am a Twitch streamer. Yeah. World. I am a Twitch streamer.
This is me.
I don't really contribute much to the world. I don't even really play games that much. I just talk a lot, but it's what I do.
Same. Actually, you know, I think you're pretty much the first or one of the first just chatting channels I found on Twitch. Because like my first impression of Twitch was like it's so game heavy and stuff, and I don't game and I don't watch games, so it was like, huh, is there even a place for me here? But then I saw there were actually quite a few people who were just like there chilling, and it was like really, really interesting.
Yeah, that was something that surprised me too, because I was when my first impression of streaming, my brother was like, yeah, you can stream Minecraft and Fortnite, and I was like, that does not sound like something that I'm good at. And lo and behold, I'm really bad at games for the most part, and I do them sometimes for fun, you know, or we'll play like community games every so often. But you know, I feel like connecting with people and talking to people is more my thing, and I didn't realize, I had no idea that was even a part of Twitch for the longest time. And then when I first went into the just chatting category to watch streams, that terrified me because it was a lot of the, for lack of a better word, like titty streamers. And like, you know, to each his own, they're doing their own thing, they make money from it, more power to them, you know. But I was like, I can't do that, that's not me, I don't feel comfortable doing that, like that's not my vibe. And then I can't even remember, I feel like I saw like one or two people being chill. I was a lot more over energetic when I first started streaming because I was like, I have to be. And then I feel like I kind of just relaxed into this place of like, sometimes I'm a lot because I can be a lot as a person, but for the most part we just listen to lo-fi and chill and hang out. But I think it's interesting because it's also like recognizing that there are so many different types of personalities around Twitch, and like finding the communities that you can relate to and vibe with. And I kind of came through and like lurked in some of your streams, and I like just appreciated the community and the environment that you had created.
Oh, I am very thankful for the people that I've actually gotten to meet as well, because I know it can be a very toxic place if you're in a certain like genre and you attract a certain group of people. But it is, at the end of the day, it's like what you do and what kind of things that you say ultimately attracts the people that come to your channel.
Oh yeah,
right?
as I mean, there are a lot of people who they'll create a community and then a bunch of stuff happens in it and they're like, I don't know how that happened, like I don't, you know, I'm not responsible for my community. And I'm like, you know, like you're not technically responsible for the actions of your community, but you are responsible for who you allow to be a part of it and the energy that you put forth, you know, like, and who you decide to hold responsible, and like when you decide to hold people responsible. And so I'm a big proponent of like, as a streamer, the energy you put out is the energy that you'll cultivate, you know, like not to say that existing means it warrants trolls, that happens regardless, but the people that you have hang out and you have come back time and time again, like that's your personality. And I think that the community of a streamer speaks volumes to the streamer themselves, you know.
Very true.
So I'm very fortunate because I've got some really cool humans and some crazy ones, but
I've gotten to meet maybe like a few too, I think from the 2 times that you did raid, so that was awesome.
Yeah, and they, for the most part, you know, they're really good, friendly. They like to give me a hard time, but like in a good way, not in a way, for the most part. Like there was one time that I got upset, and it's because I was playing a game and there was a wolf character in the game and it died because I am really bad at hitting like the quick time events fast enough on like a PlayStation remote, and it died, and I started crying because I felt really bad. And then they were like, "You killed him," and I was like, "Stop! Like, not right now. It is not the time." But yeah, I'm pretty lucky to, you know, for some reason people stick around. And then I get to meet cool people like you through streaming as well, which I appreciate.
I actually think that was one of the coolest things. Like, I didn't expect to even meet any type of person that I would vibe along with, because, you know, it was just like such a new environment to me. I was like, oh, this gaming and all that, I thought it would be about games and stuff. Like, I don't play any games. But there are so many cool people.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I had a question and I lost it. I looked up at my lights and I got distracted for a second by a feather that's been stuck in one of them that I keep looking at and meaning to take off, and I never do.
Oh.
But I super lost my train of thought. I will find it.
Curious
I will find
if you don't. All right. Because I had a like in general question too. It's like, what do you see with like streaming continuing forward? It's kind of like interesting. I'm always interested in what other people think about streaming, like how their streaming experience has been, and also like what they see continue down the line.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in a weird spot with that lately because I got too caught up in numbers. Like, my numbers in 2021 have been a lot lower than they were 2020. Like, I was on kind of an incline for a while there, and then things started to dip, and it got me really in my head because, again, you know, Twitch sends you the emails at the end of every stream, like, here are your numbers, here is how far you are from partner, did your numbers go up or did they go down overall, like, you know, just letting you know exactly where you are. And it is my main source of income right now, just because it's really hard to find work just in general anywhere. I'd like to grow as a channel, you know, not at the expense of my community, you know, like I don't want it to be in a way where I'm like, I don't know, like where I have to change who I am. But it's about figuring out what that means and how, I don't know, how to do that, I guess. It's a little bit difficult because everybody's like, do TikTok. I'm really bad at TikTok. I don't understand it. I posted a video of me in Thanos makeup because I did Thanos makeup on stream, and it looks weird, and I feel like most of my stuff is cringy, you know, but I'm trying to figure that out. I just don't put in the effort to, like, I spent 2 hours making somen salad the other day, and I filmed it all. I just don't want to take the time to put it together because it took so long. I need to understand how it works. I don't understand. I feel like I'm an old person, but I'm learning. I'm working on a jump scare compilation to put on it, but
oh god.
Yeah, so like I'd like to grow my streaming, but I think that puts me in a weird position because I want to grow my streaming, but I also don't want to start fixating on numbers again, because that I think was really detrimental to my streaming. Like, it encouraged me to start a podcast, which was good. You know, it encouraged me to try something new and do something that I think that, you know, I'm good at. Like, I think that talking to people, I talk too much for one, but I think talking to people is something that I know I enjoy, and it's more of a strong suit, like as far as getting to know people, you know, and again, at the root of like humanity and like what makes a person them and what makes them unique. And like, that's been something that's been exciting. But then if I let it consume me, then it'll just, I won't be able to just stream the way that I started, in that doing it because I enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like that complex question, like end goal. I would love to be partner if I could, but if I focus on the numbers of how long until I get there, or am I close, or do I have the numbers to get there, kind of thing, like that, I think will not necessarily tank the channel, because I think that I'm very fortunate that I have people who are the solid community that I have. Like I know that they're there, you know, no matter what, they allow me to try things, you know, even if it's not what they necessarily joined for. But I'll burn out because I'll put so much stress and pressure on myself to be this or that, and I'll compare myself to other people, and so yeah, that's kind of a hard, I don't know. That's, yeah, it's a
Where we're coming from too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
that was one of the reasons too. Like at the end of the day, it's really hard to separate yourself from the numbers because they throw it at you, and everybody else is also looking at them. And then you compare yourself to others and be like, this person is growing, and you know, we were just like, I mean, it's great to see your friends do so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you put yourself in their shoes and you're like, oh wait, why am I not doing the same thing or getting the same thing?
It's like, do I need to do more of what they're doing, or
right, exactly.
I also do have some questions here from other people for you.
Cool.
Cowboy asked if she was to order
Hi,
chicken
Cowboy.
nuggets, where would she go? A very deep question.
Chicken nuggets? Oh, McDonald's. Sorry,
Okay.
McNuggets are just like the best.
They're okay. People give them so much crap, but it's one of my guilty
Wait,
pleasures.
where do people? I've never actually heard anyone say McNuggets is bad. Like,
Oh my, yeah, no. There's a whole thing, like people are, well, because it's like, I don't know what it was. I think it's like there's like a picture that someone posted of like, this is what they look like before they're cooked or whatever. I don't know. They're a guilty pleasure of mine, so I'm 100% with you on that.
I mean, sure, there might be really great nuggets that are way more fresh, that are way more expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
But like at the end of the day, like it's so good.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna sacrifice that. Let's see. I have another question here from, I'm gonna say this wrong. Is it Tenshi? Tianshi? I probably super.
Sorry, I'm not looking at chat, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh no, it's okay. I'm going. It's I probably super mispronounced the name.
Tian. It's Tianxi. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just hate mispronouncing names because I'm like,
No, I feel that.
I'll
butcher
read
it
it
all the time. That
Yeah,
I've like
I'll
given up.
like read something in chat and be like, all right, tell me how terribly incorrect that was, please. But they asked, do people who know you IRL and that you stream, have they said anything about it?
Necessarily, well, I think most of the people that actually know about it or hear about it are like, oh, that's really cool. What do you stream? It's like, it's more of a like, I don't think anyone's really like judging. But they do, I think at the end of the day, a lot of people are like, I never thought you would be the one to do that.
Yeah.
Because I have a certain image. I don't know what kind of image I have, but like I think at the end of the day, because I do so many other things, people are like, why are you streaming? Like you're not a gamer.
Yeah, I feel like also when people hear that you stream like on Twitch, they're like, oh, so like gamer? Like do you game? And it's like,
right,
no. There's a whole other area. That's just for hanging out.
Yeah, and it's that rare that people don't, see that as the normal thing on Twitch. It's either like, you're categorized as some kind of like titty streamer if you're female.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm pretty sure when I first like was talking to my parents about streaming, I'm 99% sure my dad thought I was like a cam girl or something, and I had to be like, listen, like, and my parents have come and they've hung out in some of my streams. Actually, my dad showed up when I was doing my e-girl stream, which did not help change up that narrative. And so I texted him. I was like, hey, this is a character, just so you know. But
don't take this seriously.
Like, this is not who I am now. This isn't, but yeah, there's definitely big misconceptions. Like, you're either a gamer streamer. If you're a girl, you're either a gamer streamer or you're like a titty streamer, and like that's what people think of, at least. And I feel like the thing that I've enjoyed about getting to know different women on Twitch is that finding the people who are also like me, you know, in that, like, we exist in between that area. And so I think it's been kind of cool finding different women across the platform. And I don't know what I want to do yet, but I want to do some sort of like girls' night, game night or something on like, you know, do like a stream or something where we get a bunch of different, like, you know, streamers from around Twitch, you know, that like we all kind of like vibe or, you know, and have same energies and like just hang out together, because I feel like it's so, I don't know. I also have a hard time making female friends, but that's like from high school, you know, like
Really?
girls can be mean sometimes. And so
Girls can be mean.
yeah. So I think that
it's insane.
Getting a group of like cool women together who are just, you know, hanging out here, I think doing something together, some sort of, whether it be like doing group games or doing, I don't even know, just hanging out, or something. Like I've always wanted to do a like murder mystery night, which could be fun if we find like, if I find different actor kind of people, you know, where everybody gets a character and like throughout the course of the evening, you know, I looked into a little bit, but there's certain restrictions on like, since it's like you buy a package that has the story, like what I can stream. And so I was emailing about permissions and stuff, but I figured that could be really fun to do if I get like different kind of actor people or performer types that, you know, enjoy that kind of stuff. I don't know. I feel like it could be a fun, cool. Like a fun night for everyone to hang out, or doing like a table read of like a script or something. Just a different way to bring creative types together, and collaborate. And yeah, I don't know. So like I'm toying with the ideas.
One of the biggest things I wanted to do as well. Like do more creative things, but do more like planned events. Yeah. Rather than just, I mean, it's cool to be able to turn on camera and stream and just like talk. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I really want to be able to curate some things, because you have such a open platform that you can do anything. Yeah. Really, and I've seen that a lot of people get so creative about the things that they can stream, in terms of like creative arts, that it's not just like them talking. And it's so cool, and I really wanted to, at least, and I still want to do more of that. Yeah. I just don't know if I have time for it. Yeah, just like making time for like so fun. Yeah. So I will, you know, let you know if I ever end up putting that together, but like I figured I'll plan it, you know, in advance, so everybody, you know, it's not like a last minute thing, but like a night where a bunch of us can get together and, you know, play Among Us, or, you know, play, I don't even know, like find different group games to do. And I feel like it could be just a really fun time for everyone to come together and I don't know, just get to like find a community of, I don't know, similar people. So yeah, I don't know, that's something that I was thinking about, and I feel like could be a lot of fun. I think there was another, yes, Tian had another question as well. Will streaming continue for you as things normalize, or will you continue to create content as things open up? Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know. I want it to normalize. I just don't. I feel like it's also one of those things, like when you step away, you're just like,
it's hard to get back.
And you're like, you're in this whole other thing where you kind of like, maybe forget's not the word, but like,
I feel like
you lose track.
It frees up so much time too. Like feeling like you have to be on for a couple hours. Like it's really like, in reality, I could sit a couple hours and watch TV, or I could sit a couple hours and like be on stream. But I feel like it ends up being, oh, I lost my headphone. It ends up being a lot more time and energy than I think people realize as well. Like I have to like get ready for a stream. You know, I've got to get all the tech set up. I've got to get, you know, all of the elements put together. And I just feel like it takes a little bit of a weight off your shoulder to not have that as a responsibility. I feel like to a certain degree it becomes a responsibility, or something that you have to do, and then find time to do everything else around that, you know. And like, when I took like a week break at the beginning of January, and when it was time to come back, like I missed my community obviously, and it was like nice to see everyone. I mean, I still talk in Discord all the time, but like it was nice to like see everyone again on stream. But there was also a part of me that was like, have to invest this much of my time in this every week again, you know. And I stream most days, so all but 2 days, pretty much.
It becomes more of a job, which shouldn't be. Like, ideally, obviously, you want it to be something that's fun, you want to keep going. But I think at some parts, if you want to continue streaming and making it as like a sustainable thing, it becomes a job. I mean, it is a job for you. If you're doing it full time, it is a job. Yeah. And with that comes with all of like responsibilities and work and time and effort. Yeah. That at first you might not have like had. Yeah.
Play chess. Someone told me to play chess. I don't even really understand chess, to be honest. I can play checkers, I think. I haven't played either of them in such a long time. But yeah, someone said taco stream on Taco Tuesday. Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know. I wanted to do like a Friday or Saturday like wine night, where not necessarily everyone has to drink wine, but like, you know, like everybody hanging out and like getting one of those like question games, you know? And it's just like a bunch of people hanging out, you know, answering,
Have you
know.
seen the We're Not Really Strangers card game?
I think I've heard of it, but I don't remember.
It's so cute. It's so cute. You should look it up. It's a card game. It's like meant to basically connect you to a stranger, in a sense that they ask really reflective and introspective questions about you and also the other person.
I like it.
I don't have it, but like I've just seen it around. Yeah. I've seen people do it. And
I feel like that could be a fun. I feel like if I got like a group together of people who are all willing to like have like discussions and answer questions, I feel like that could be a really fun, like if we did like a wine night kind of thing where it's a bunch of people hanging out. Like I feel like that's also a good way to do kind of like a group thing where it's also about discussion and about, I don't know, getting to know each other and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that could be fun too. My mod Chris, it's Swan the Kraken, but asked milk or cereal first.
Cereal.
Okay, good.
Okay, my biggest thing was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how people put milk in first. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It will splash everywhere when you put cereal in after.
Well, yeah, and then you don't know the quantity of
and you don't
milk.
know the quantity of milk.
Yeah, you're gonna put too much or too little.
To estimate. It's so much easier to estimate milk quantity as compared to cereal quantity.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I feel like Chris has probably asked every single person who's been on the podcast this question. No one has yet said milk first, but
okay, good.
It
just logically makes more sense.
Well, Chris, this is the wrong answer because Chris is just a chaotic individual, but
oh my god.
The only situation that milk first is acceptable is if you poured a bowl of cereal, you did the cereal, then you did the milk, you ate the cereal, and there's still milk, and you want to add more cereal. Oh, it's Cowboy who's asked. Sorry, Chris asked today, but I'm sorry, Cowboy. He's asked every time, and then Chris asked this time. But yeah, man, Chris is just all about that chaotic life.
Chaos. You know what? You live life however you want to.
Yeah, live life on the edge. Why don't you just eat oatmeal then? I can't eat oatmeal. I'm allergic to oats too, apparently.
Wait, what?
Yeah, when I got my allergy test done in January, I found out that I have an allergy to pistachios, egg white, and oats, which I drink oat milk coffees every single day with no issue. So I don't know if I think it's just eggs that cause hives, but I have to basically I'm in the process of being like 3 months without having any of my allergens. And then I have to go back and get tested again to see if it changed anything. But yeah, that was a fun discovery.
So
yeah.
See, I've never really had an allergy.
Neither did I.
Really interested to do like it's the poke test.
Yeah,
right?
where they poke your skin.
Try the poke test.
Yeah.
And to see if I'm actually allergic to any of the things, because I feel like I'm not allergic.
I
haven't had any kind of reaction.
I had never had any kind of major except for like seasonal allergies. Like I've never had any food sensitivity allergies, and then all of a sudden I got hives, and they tested me, and like I could have been allergic to pistachios this whole time. I don't know. I never really eat pistachios personally, so I just wouldn't have known even if it caused it. I really think it's just egg right now that's causing it, but I'm confused about oat because I had oat product on a much more regular basis. Like oat milk coffee was my life. I had one at least one every day. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know where it came from. I hope that I hope that I can have like if it's just like mild upset stomach, I'll deal with that. I like oat milk and I like oatmeal, and most non-egg breakfast things that are substitutes have oat in them. So like my breakfast right now is just kind of like super messed up, but yeah, we'll see. Apparently I'm super allergic to grass though. I did the environmental allergen skin test as well, and they poked me with a couple of the different types of grasses, and within like a few minutes the spots around those like were massive, like none of my food allergies had that kind of reaction, but apparently I'm just super allergic to grass. I don't know.
Dang.
Yeah, I didn't know about any of this. I just knew that sometimes during the fall and springtime I get stuffy noses. Hey, sorry, my cat just tried to eat my ponytails that I left on the table. I looked over and she just like and like grabbed them.
Oh.
What a weird bean. But anyway, that's my allergy rant. I need to stop. I go on an allergy rant at least once a stream now because I'm so just like sad, because I've learned how to make like acai bowls, so I got a blender.
Ooh.
And like I love that. Like I love acai bowls, and you know, I do like my acai, some mango and mango juice or whatever, and like it's really good. But one of my favorite parts about acai bowls is normally having granola on top of it, and I can't right now. But it's okay. They're good enough in themselves that I'll, you know, I just add fruit on top and some coconut flakes and I'm fine. Now we just hissed at Dom. Okay. She peed on the bed, specifically where he lays. Not again. I wasn't. Yeah. I know. He thought I was telling her that she peed on the bed again. No. Yeah. Maui, what? She's so weird. The funny thing is she's super old, right? She's like 13, 14 years old, but she is as like, I don't know if spicy is the word. She
seems really like you can't tell.
Yeah,
you can't tell.
She sleeps a lot, but she's as spicy as she was when she was younger.
No.
This little bean. No, say hi. She's like, don't make me say hi. Yeah, she's a cute one. Fully my child. Do you have a dream job? Because you do. I know you do so much. There's so much that you love doing. But if you could pick anything to get paid enough to like live for, you know, like if you could pick best situation, you could make, you know, make enough money and whatnot. Like, what would be your absolute dream job? I feel like this is interesting though, because you do so many different things.
Yeah, so like a lot of people, because I jump around so much, right? A lot of people are like, oh, okay, but what is your one thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you do so many things. You must have like, because I'm so passionate about everything, and that's also.
Sorry, hold on 1 second. Now I just tugged out my earbud.
Everything is just like, oh.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
But yeah, no worries. The biggest issue of like not being able to balance everything is because I'm just so interested in everything.
Yeah.
I like read about something, I'm like, oh, this is interesting, and I want to learn more about it, and I spend time on this, and then I forget that, oh, there's this other thing that I've been doing that, you know, I'm supposed to stay on a path for. So like my interest almost, I feel like I have a commitment issue. Maybe that's just it. I don't know. Maybe I just have a commitment issue. Because I find something, I'm like, oh, this is so interesting, and I do it for like a couple of years, and I continue doing it on and off, but and then something else pops up, and it's just like, oh my god, this is also interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think at the end of a day, if I can be in like some sort of storyteller in whatever sense that looks like,
yeah,
that would probably be like the best scenario. I don't know specifically what kind of role that might be, because that could also be happening in I don't know, in design or something. It could be some sort of new avenue for Twitch, for YouTube, or maybe it's just like going film directing full time. I don't know what that looks like.
Just being a one-woman show where you do the directing, the cinematography, you star in it. It's got dancing in it. You get to design the poster.
If I had the ability to do that, I mean, to be fair, I did do that. Like, okay, not everything, but like I was so close to also just acting in the short that I did last time because it just like so last minute. It was like, oh, someone has to act in it. But then it was too much. But like, if I had the energy and ability to do that. Hell yeah, like duplicate myself like
oh yeah, you just need to duplicate one of you for each of the jobs, or maybe like two for directing, you know, duplicate two for camera, one for, you know, camera, and one for like the assistant for focus. And yeah, I feel like whatever you end up doing has to be something that allows you to be able to do everything, you know, like, and like, I don't know, I feel like some people, I used to have like an issue where some people would be like, oh, I've got this one thing that I do really, really well. And I've always been kind of similar in that I do a little bit of everything, you know, and which the one thing that's hard about is that it makes it hard to commit to just one thing. But, and some people will look at that as like a detriment, but I think ultimately it's a skill because you know how to do stuff and you can make stuff happen for yourself, especially when a lot of the things you know are within the same industry. Or skills that can be applied to multiple different areas. And so I feel like ultimately you're just making yourself like the ultimate hireable individual because there's so many things that you can do and so much that you're able to contribute and so much knowledge that you have. So I don't know, I mean, I like, it opens so many doors for you at the end of the day because you know so much more about everything, you know, and that's really cool as well. And I feel like the fact that you are also, I used to work as a tour guide at my school, and like one of the like big statues on campus, like we had a whole spiel about it. We're like, he's a lifelong student because he like learned all the time and never stopped learning. But like, that's how I would probably describe you, as like, you're a lifelong student in that you always find something exciting to learn, which I also feel like is a really enriching way to live, you know, because you're always finding something new to be excited by or something new to learn. And I feel like that keeps life interesting, you know?
That's how I feel.
If you settle into one, it's like, I feel like it's easier for me to hate on this because I don't, not hate on it necessarily because I don't understand it though, but like accounting. You learn how to be an accountant and you do accounting work. And maybe you get promoted, right? But it's all kind of the same stuff all the time. And like theoretically you'd have skills outside of it and like hobbies outside of it. But like that, if that's what you do, I feel like there's so... nothing changes. It's a lot of the same, you know? And so I feel like that's one of the things that's neat about what you do within creativity is like you keep working on the things that you've learned and that you've, you know, that you've fine-tuned, but then you're also learning other aspects of creativity and unlocking other sides of your creativity.
Mm-hmm. And I find a lot of those skills do carry over. Yeah, like I do, like, I mean, I'm biased, but I think it's good to have multiple different things that you're committed to, or like, yeah, at least you know about and you're working towards getting better at, because it makes you so much more versatile, yeah, and adaptable to whatever you're doing. Like, I think prior to the last film that I shot and directed, I mean, I didn't really know much about the film side, aside from like being on sets and acting and things, but like I didn't know anything about the actual writing and the shooting and all of that. But a lot of those things, because I was a designer, I was able to, even though being such an inexperienced person, I was able to make it look like an extremely professional film because I know how to design posters. Like, it's such a minor thing, right? Like, or yeah, I know how to make a website. I can make it look extremely nice and extremely professional, even though I myself in film is an experience, but it looks like it's an experienced product because I have those skills to carry over. And it's the same thing with like the film now we're casting and stuff. We've worked in the industry, but like for myself, compared to I'm sure a bunch of other directors, I'm still an amateur. But I make it look like I'm a professional because I can make it look nice. Yeah, you have... So it's like one of those things that you don't really think about, but it really does carry over.
Oh, yeah. So design-wise, what kind of stuff... I've been meaning to ask, but like what kind of because I know you talk about like you have a lot of different, you know, clients, and that's kind of what you do a lot for work. What kind of stuff do you do? Like, what is your, I don't know, like the services that you offer, I guess.
Mostly, I think most of my clients first ask about logos. That tends to be the biggest thing. Mostly like graphic design, but then eventually move into websites because it's helpful. Like for me, because I know both the design aspect and also the development aspect, so I can code it as well. That's what a lot of clients like. So it really depends. I've also worked on apps where I've done the design side. But most of it does come down to logo, some branding things, and then website.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, my brother studied in undergrad. He was a psychology major with a graphic design minor, and he went to grad school for I think it's like user experience design, mostly for, you know,
field
like,
I'm trying to get into.
yeah, he ended up having a perfect blend of skills, like a very unique major minor combo, you know, like graphic design and psychology. But I feel like he was showing me some of what he works at Microsoft now. He got a job out of grad school, which is fantastic. But it's a lot of stuff that like the psychology aspect of things like is so helpful with, because it's like he was showing me like in website design, basically like all the little things that you don't think about, like how you have to decide that when you select a button, it's going to change the color to a different, like when you select it, you know, just like little stuff like that, or just how, you know, things are displayed or how it navigates from one page to the next. And like, there are so many details that I didn't realize go into that are just so...
Yeah, you know what's also really helpful about like learning all of these things, especially from a design aspect, and I can look at platforms like YouTube, platforms like Twitch, and that's how I start noticing these things. Like,
yeah,
how do they keep users trapped? Like trapped is a bad word, but you know, fundamentally, it's like,
yeah,
how do we trap you further on this platform so you don't leave, so you watch more stuff?
Yeah,
and you start noticing those things, and it's like, how do they, you know, keep creators creating?
Yeah,
pushing for some goal. Like that's why they email you. That's why they show you
it's
what,
like
what kind
the little,
of growth you have.
It's like a psychological game
because they want you to keep fighting
yeah.
for them. And it's a completely different, like, I think it's a great perspective to have, because then you know, like, that's a business choice.
Yeah.
You're not, like, you're being trapped into this business choice. And then same thing with dealing with product design for things like TikTok, especially. I think that app is is very, very, like, they did a really good job of trapping people, literally making people addicted, because the
way that the feed works and everything, like,
yeah, the creation of the infinite scroll and the way that you can interact with posts, it's just like, it's brilliant in the sense that the design is brilliant.
Yeah,
and
they did what they set out to do.
Keeping people is brilliant, but like on the actual, you know, you using it is like, this is kind of dangerous.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's one of those that like I'll be sitting next to my boyfriend and he's scrolling at night, and I'll be like, hey, like it's time to go to bed, and he'll just like he's like, okay, and then he just keeps scrolling. And like I don't scroll on TikTok all the time because I don't really use it, but I fall into it. Like he'll be scrolling and I'll like look at one, and then I just like keep watching as he scrolls, because I'm like, what's gonna come up next? I don't know. Is it gonna be another cat? It might be, so I'm gonna keep watching, you know. I don't know, it's just so trapped is probably a good word, actually, though. Like, it's like you don't even realize it though. It's so sneaky, you know, because it's like you're just scrolling and then all of a sudden an hour has passed and you're like, wait a minute, you know,
where did time go?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. That's so fast. You're currently in school right now, correct? What are you studying right now again?
So I used to be I went into school for engineering, actually, because I wanted to do more tech things, but after like 2-3 years of it and taking a term off, or taking a year off to work for a little bit and then taking a turn off to go to LA and see all the creative energy there, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is not, I can't do this forever. So I ended up finally switching over to what I'm doing now, which is cognitive science. Okay. Which is way more in psychology and philosophy. That's why it's like super interesting. for me to learn. Like at the end of the day, school is just school. I'm just trying to graduate, get a diploma, but at least what like the things that I'm learning right now is extremely interesting.
Yeah,
for the things that I deal with.
Yeah, that's super neat, and I feel like again that understanding how people work, I think, is also so important for creativity, but also storytelling specifically, because I think it understands, and then especially from like a cinematic perspective and directing perspective, like how do you portray, like if you want to get across some element of a character's psychology subtly without them specifically saying it, you know, how it's like how can you use the camera and the space and the lighting and the you know, color scheme. Like I feel like if you understand that, there's so much more that you can play with in filmmaking, in storytelling, and in art in general. You know, what shapes you use, what colors you use, and yeah, but that's so neat. I feel like you have, I don't know, I feel like you continue to be just such an impressive human, because I feel like you know so much about so many different kind of things, and I don't know, I envy that. I think that's so cool, because I feel like it also sets you up with a better toolkit to handle something new and something different, because if you have all these existing skills, then you're already a step ahead, ready to learn, you know, something else. That's super neat. Yeah. Chris asked what your favorite ice cream flavor is.
I think dark chocolate. I've been really into dark chocolate flavored things lately. Because I'm not that into chocolate itself.
Yeah.
But I really like chocolate flavored things.
Yeah. Are you talking like just like a dark chocolate ice cream, or like dark chocolate with chocolate chip, or?
Probably just like just flavored.
Yeah.
Dark chocolate flavored things. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to.
What is yours?
I feel like I usually default to like mint chocolate chip, I think, but I think it's because that was my mom's favorite when I was.
Okay. So here's the thing. I had a debate with. She's like, I already know what's going on. I had a debate with some of my friends, because my one of my close friends, her favorite flavor is also mint chocolate chip, and the rest of it are just here like, why do you like eating toothpaste?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I know everybody is very divided on this. I don't know. I guess I just grew up eating mint chocolate chip ice cream, so I like it. Like I don't have any kind of like, I never thought about it that way. My mom always liked it, so then I liked it. I would say another top flavor of mine, though, ice cream wise, is I really like matcha ice cream as well. Like I think that's another solid.
Matcha's great. Yeah.
But then also like just plain vanilla can be good.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like also you can add like something on top of it if you want to, and it's not going to be overkill. I don't know. I feel like what I don't like is like if someone makes like a sundae, right? Oh my god, coffee. Yeah, Games mentioned coffee ice cream. That's also one of my favorites.
Ooh,
I like coffee anything, but yeah, coffee ice cream is my jam. But like someone makes an ice cream sundae, right? And they get like a really like heavy flavor, like chocolate with chocolate, and you know, chocolate with chocolate chips inside, and then they put
that's a lot.
They put like whipped cream and hot fudge and everything on it. Like if you're gonna make an ice cream sundae, it needs to be vanilla ice cream, because then if you add stuff on top of it, it's not gonna be too much. But that's my spiel about sundaes. But yeah, no, I don't personally feel like mint chocolate chip or like mint ice cream tastes like toothpaste, but I know a lot of people do. I only came to that, like, I only learned that that's how people feel like recently, like within the past year.
We wouldn't talk about it. Yeah.
I had never heard of that before. I didn't know that that's how people felt at all. Yeah.
But just like it's hard to disassociate mint with anything not dental related.
Yeah, I guess, because like dental floss, mouthwash, toothpaste, gum even is typically mint.
Mm-hmm.
Mints,
mint hot chocolate is good though.
Okay, mint hot chocolate. Yeah, no, that's mint tea. I like peppermint tea.
Ooh, I don't know how I feel about peppermint tea.
It's actually, I like it because it doesn't have caffeine, and it's very. That one I didn't expect to like, but one of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, no, I like peppermint tea at night." Thin mint cookies are also Yeah, non-dental. I'm just trying to think of non-dental mint things now. But mint tea is pretty good. It's like a very soothing, I don't know, like a very soothing, I don't want to say like aroma, but like kind of. I don't know.
I feel like mint tea is too spicy for me.
Really?
Like I like really, yeah. I know, and it's not like it's not.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know
but,
what
like,
you mean.
I think it's too spicy for what I like in a tea. Because I don't know. I have like very basic taste in teas, which is like black tea, green tea. That's it. Like, don't add anything else to it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't like when people add sweetener to tea, specifically green tea. Like, I grew up drinking plain green tea, just like that's what I had. That's what my mom had, you know, like. And then I remember I went over to someone's house and they put a bunch of honey in it, and I was like, I don't know. I don't like putting honey in my green tea. I don't really. I mean, on occasion, if someone does like passion fruit green tea, like that, I mess with. Like, I think that's really good. But like, depending,
there's so much green tea that goes well. Because I'm like, when it comes to like bubble tea.
Oh yeah, I feel like
boba,
fruit green teas work really, really well.
Yeah.
Or jasmine green tea is the other one that I do that I really like. But I feel like if they try to make it too sweet, like I typically only in boba teas or like fruity green teas I do like a little bit of sweetener. But if I'm drinking plain green tea, like hot green tea, I just need plain. Like I don't want to add anything to it.
Right. Yeah. You're just drinking tea for the tea.
Yeah. I remember when I first had English breakfast tea. It was one of my friends who grew up in the UK, and I went to her house, and her parents asked me if I wanted tea, and I was like, yeah, you know, I drink tea all the time. And they handed me like English breakfast tea that had like milk and sugar in it. And I was like,
oh, I can't do that.
I was like, is this coffee? Like, what?
Right?
I was so confused.
And I know that's supposed to be like the traditional way to drink tea or something. I was like, I can't. That doesn't feel like tea to me.
Yeah, I was like, you're basically going about making this tea like you would coffee, because it's the brown liquid that you add milk and sugar to. Like it's the same thing, except it's tea. But yeah, that one I was not prepared for. Now he has just officially claimed her spot on this chair. She keeps trying to eat my headphone cord. No, Dr. Slim Thick said, sweet tea gang, where you at? But I'm not a... I grew up in Texas, where sweet tea down there is like syrup.
Ooh.
I can't do it. I can't.
I don't think I can... I try my best not to drink... Like, the only sweet thing that I think I drink is from probably bubble tea, but...
Yeah.
I don't think I can do anything other than that that's sweet.
Yeah. I just feel like it becomes, like, if it loses the texture of being a liquid and becomes, like, thicker, like, syrupy, it's also, like, I don't want to feel like I'm just straight up drinking sugar, you know?
That's also the thing that's, like, I'm trying to stay away from, too, because you get used to it.
Yeah.
And then you adapt to it. So I'm trying to adapt to non-sugar things.
Yeah.
Because... it's so easy to take in so much sugar when you don't notice you're drinking it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I think I got all the current chat questions right now. Let me just double check what I have going on over here. I'm gonna drink some water. Give me a second. Okay.
Is your long-term plan to just like stay in LA then?
I mean, ideally
break into the industry.
Ideally, if I could get enough work that I don't need to be in LA and could maybe be a little further away, that would be nice. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's like also hard to think like long term because I'm like, I don't even know if I can do short term, but
I know.
But no, yeah.
It's
Ideally it wouldn't be like forever to be at least in LA. I'd like to be a little further out. I drove through like a little suburban town the other day to get to, I don't remember where I was going, but it was like a little suburban town. There were trees, it was more quiet, and I was like, wow, this is really nice. I'd really like this, to live in a house, not an apartment. Like, you know, like, I like the city, I like being in the city, but I think it also stresses me out a little bit, especially in a pandemic, because it gets really busy, and then a lot of people don't wear masks, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. Long term, if I could make enough that and have enough of, I don't know if it's like enough clout or enough of like a resume to be at a point where I don't have to audition for everything kind of thing, where it's more of like a here's a script, do you like it kind of thing.
You just have to go, yeah.
That then it would be more doable to be you know, further away, because then I don't have to then I can like fly in if I need to for like a table read or something, or like a chemistry read or something. That to me, like, you know, if I could do that. But until then,
that would be the goal.
Yeah, until then I'm kind of just in the armpit of all of it.
Man, have you always known that you wanted to do this like full time?
I always knew that I wanted to be a performer, I think, because when I was younger, I sang and I danced a lot. What my sister and I did for fun more often than not was we would put on shows for my parents. You know, like I'd make them sit on the stairs, right? Because like the stairs would lead into like kind of like the little entryway area. So they'd sit on the stairs. We'd charge them $0.25 because it's not free. It's a performance, you know? And then we would like do little like dance performances and like, you know, that kind of stuff. And my sister and I used to argue because she's like, we'll make it up as we go. And I'm like, no, we need to have a choreographed dance. We need to know what we're doing. Like, you know, I was a little bit more extra with it, but you know, or, it was a lot of, I knew that I wanted to do something creative. Like, you know, my sister and I would always we'd play make-believe outside. Like we'd pretend to be mermaids and make up this whole world that we live in, or, you know, like that kind of stuff. And like, I've always had some sort of creative inclination. And when I was younger, I thought I'd be like a performer, like music or dance, you know? And I took dance lessons for a really long time. And then I was at a point where if I wanted to keep doing dance, it would have to be my whole life, you know, like, not that like I'd still go to school normally, but like I wouldn't have any time for anything after school because it would just be dance. And I decided then that that's not what I wanted, you know, because I had done a little bit of theater at that point and I really liked that. And so it wasn't until like early high school that I was like, you know what, like my actor origin story is actually like kind of cringy and embarrassing because it's about being a like total geek about a movie. So I read The Hunger Games, right? And I really liked the book a lot. Like, I really enjoyed the book. It was one of the first series that I read for just to read and enjoy reading. Because prior to that, I thought I hated reading because I only read school books. And so that was one of the first series that I read just and enjoyed. And when the movie came out, the first movie, I remember just being so excited to see this world that I had read and only seen in my mind like come to life, and also seeing like this is something people do, like people act like this is their job. And like I was just so fascinated by that I started to take like film acting lessons outside of school theater, and focusing more of my time and energy on it. And then like I went through a rough patch in high school, and like I was pretty, you know, I had a lot of like depression and stuff. And one of the things that stood out to me though was like my entire day would feel gray. And then my last class of the day was always theater. And like, it was always that last class of the day that I felt any sense of like color or excitement or something more than just like, oh, I have to go do this and I have to go do that. And like, and for me, that was like really, really impactful and just kind of like further solidified that that's what I wanted to do as a career, you know? And like, it was a gradual process, but I think I always knew at the root of it, I was a performer. And maybe that's just because I'm a middle child and I need attention, but I've always kind of known that I wanted to do something of that nature, I guess. But just it being acting and being specifically film acting I think I had to eventually adjust to, just because I grew up with the mindset with parents who were of the minds, you know, my mom was like, oh, you could grow up and be a doctor or a dentist, and like always encouraging that kind of stuff. And so I didn't think about acting as a viable career path.
Right.
So it was that, I mean, that was kind of a process. But I'm happy that that's kind of where I ended up, because I think that I would be probably profoundly unhappy if I tried to force myself into something else. I don't know.
Well, that's really cool. That's actually very, very cool to hear. Thank you for sharing that. I don't think that was cringy at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those that, like, because it's not like I saw this like amazing storytelling film that just like spoke to my soul. It was about like, I think it was about furthering the childlike imagination I had when I was younger. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, is like getting to feel still that childlike excitement of something that I know was fake but felt so real, like when I played make believe kind of thing. And now I can appreciate more nuanced films and like that kind of stuff. But when I was younger, it wasn't like I saw some like fantastic old movie or whatnot. But I don't know. I guess that's why I feel cringy as an actor.
I think that
about
should
it.
matter though.
That's true.
It's not like
you get there. I think you get there at some point.
Yeah. Like for me, at least I know I actually don't have that much knowledge in a lot of films or movies, because I didn't grow up, you know, in the West. Well, I did, but like I half didn't grow up in the West.
Yeah.
So I didn't even have access to a lot of these movies because people don't talk about it. People never. But like my parents don't watch them because some of these movies are in their generation instead. They've never watched it because they've never gotten access to it. So I don't know about any of these films are supposedly, or like actors who are supposed to be really, really good or something. Because we didn't watch Hollywood growing up. And I think I've acknowledged that that's okay. I mean, definitely if you get a chance to see like masterpieces, you should, at least I know I should be able to, you know, see and learn from them. But just because you watch a certain big movie or a specific actor who's really, really good versus a specific actor who's like terrible, like I don't know, if someone came and said Twilight inspired them to be an actor. I don't know how I feel about that, but you know what? If they got into a path that they're passionate about, and they were able to create something really good from that inspiration, then why not, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's really sad to judge people based on that. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Fieldman asked, what are your goals for 2021?
Do a good job producing and directing this film. This is my biggest project now. Like, I think that is going to be the project of 2021. I wasn't expecting it to be the project of 2021 because I thought Twitch was going to be my big thing of 2021. And it still could be. Like, at this point, it's still early to say anything, but the more I look at it, the bigger this project becomes, and it's getting a lot bigger than I thought it would. Especially coming from a place where I was just like, I just have this script that I've written a year ago, and my friend kept pushing me because we know each other well enough. Even though like he's super experienced in cinematography, but we just know each other as friends, right? And he has a really, really good crew and setup. That thankfully a lot of people have come and joined along the way, and the crew is just getting bigger and bigger. I think that is going to be, it's really exciting. I think, yeah, I'm super, super excited to see, and I'm already seeing some parts of this, but like see the production continue to fall into place and see the final product. And I can't wait to show people, because I think it's gonna, I mean, I'm biased, but I think it's gonna be pretty great. But I don't know. I think that's the anxiety aspect of me talking. Like, I don't know how good of a job I would do as a director, especially considering this is like my second piece. But I think this is, I want to be able to produce a quality film. That's probably my big goal for 2021. Yeah. And also a bunch of other things, like I want to do more content on YouTube. Those are like side things that's happening along the way as well. Oh, like also one of the biggest, which kind of falls into the same film category, is like I'm also documenting everything that's behind the scenes of a filmmaking process. Oh no, here we go again. Chat's gonna yell at me.
Okay, it's a relatable moment.
Because I have a AC cord for battery. Because I was literally in a production meeting right before this, just didn't go and grab it. But here we go. All
You're
right,
you're totally good. I think that actually happened like two guests ago. So it's happened before. I mean.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those technical setups with stream too. Like I learned so much, and I learned so much about like how much you need to put in to actually produce a good quality stream.
Oh yeah.
With like lights, camera, getting the HDMI like converter and the cord, the battery. There's so many things. Yeah. Anyways, I was talking about the documentary thing. I thought it would be really, really cool to show the rest of the world what it looks like to actually make a film.
Yeah.
So I'm basically recording everything that I'm doing, from production meetings to writing scripts to casting to talking to, I don't know, going around everywhere trying to find a location, to yelling at people on set. Because I think these are things that you don't see as just a consumer of a film, what's going on, because you just get the product and like, oh, that's cool. you don't see the people
all
yelling
the work
at each other at like 3
yeah.
a.m. trying to figure out, oh no, we don't have food tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or, oh no, this person canceled with this specific light that's extremely expensive and we can't find it. Where do we go find another light?
Yeah. Yeah.
These tiny little things. So I thought that would be interesting too.
Does it ever get overwhelming to not only be doing all of that and putting it all together, but also documenting it yourself, like being the person to do both?
So I am preparing for that because currently I'm doing everything myself, but I am trying to outsource so that someone else can take on the production of the documentary.
Yeah.
I just don't know if people, at the end of the day, a lot of these like indie filmmaking is like you don't get to pay anyone because you just don't have the capacity to, which sucks. I'm sure, like I've been in so many student films where you just don't get paid. Yeah. Because you're trying to expand your reel, you're trying to make connections and all that, and people are all doing it for their own creative, minds. Yeah. So that's also been the biggest thing, is like reaching out and finding people who are able and willing to step on, and have the same vision as me when it comes to this specific film. But it's been going good so far. It has been a little overwhelming, but a lot of people have offered to help in between, so I'm really happy about that. Yeah,
that's so good. But I feel like that'll be such an interesting documentary though, because again, like as consumers of media, everybody only sees the end result, and they're not always necessarily, I mean, and even when, because I'm thinking, I haven't watched it yet, but I know like Marvel put out a whole like making of WandaVision kind of thing, their big Marvel series, and like I'm sure it shows a lot of the fascinating things, like, oh, I didn't know that was CGI kind of thing, but they're not going to show the gritty details of, and especially they'll have a different perspective because they're a big company with access to a million things, and
exactly,
they're in a situation where they have the money to open every door that they need open kind of thing. And so I feel like seeing the perspective of someone putting something together on a low budget is also, I mean, that's more theatrically compelling to me than watching, Marvel CGI some stuff. Like, neat to see a special effect like that, but like to see all of the hard work. And I also feel like it's a good, I don't know if it's like almost a diary or journal of some sort for you as well. To,
like,
at the end of it
for myself.
Yeah,
too.
like at the end of it to be like, okay, you had to do all of that, but like, look what you ended up with.
Look at the end product. Look at the process.
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
I think that's something that I really want to see too. Like 10 years down the line, be like, look at this thing that I made, and look at how I actually made it.
Yeah, and I feel like also if you continue to progress in this direction, it's like a fun way to be like, this is where I started. Like it's a neat thing to hold on to.
Mm-hmm. And exactly like what you said about Marvel, like all of these big studios, they've come up with a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But even the behind the scenes stuff is very like scripted. Yeah. In a sense, they're like, here's no, here's one scene, here's how we shot it, you know, like
It's
you're
very
talking to an audience.
pretty.
Yeah. Whereas what I want to do is like more or less just want to document every single thing that I'm doing, and bring the audience along with me on all of these things. Because they're not going to show you, I don't know, executives yelling at each other late at night.
Yeah, well, because it's like it's so much about like the image they want to uphold, and they, you know, they want to. It's the illusion of taking you behind the curtain, but in reality, there's still another curtain that you don't get to see behind.
Yeah,
you know,
they still romanticize it. Like,
yeah,
you know, here's an actor.
It's like the Hollywood version of a documentary. You know, like it's still glamorized, I think. So I think that that's also another that'll be a very unique perspective that you can bring to like a behind the scenes documentary, which is kind of neat and exciting. I'm just gonna see does anybody else in chat have any additional questions? I like to try to close out with questions from chat if anyone has any last thoughts or questions or anything they'd like to ask. I don't want to keep you too long because I know that you have a million things going on.
No worries, this is a great conversation.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's also one of those I haven't gotten to have a lot of discussions with people about, you know, the industry and different aspects of it, and I always appreciate getting to have those conversations just because I don't know, like it's cool to get to have a back and forth about it, and to hear another, you know, creative's perspective on it, especially with the range of things that you work on and do. Cowboy says, my question is why?
That's a great question. I want to know why too.
Yeah. And then Chris follows that up with, my question is how? We're very deep
community
and profound questions. Fieldman said vision or boat. And then Game says, is there a will? Tyrese said that he had a question about Red Jersey Ribs, which is a fictional restaurant that he's created.
Oh.
At first, he would ask everybody, he's like, hey, have you heard of Red Jersey Ribs? And we'd be like, what? And then we all, like, every single one of us almost looked it up because we were like, what is this place? What is he talking about? And then we finally realized that he was just trolling us and had made it up the whole time. So now I don't believe anything that he says. He'll come in and say something and it could be 100% real, but I'll be like, you made that up. Chris asked, what is your favorite eye?
My favorite eye is Aya.
That was so good. Oh my god, that was good. That was good. What a solid human.
Thank you.
Here's an actual question that Fieldman asked. What is your guilty pleasure TV show or movie?
Oh, guilty pleasure? I should think what counts as a guilty pleasure show or movie. I feel like a lot of anime I watch is like guilty pleasure film or movie. But even then, they're just solid anime. Guilty pleasure TV? I don't know. I would want to say Terrace House, but that's not. I don't know. Do you consider it as a what was considered as a guilty pleasure TV?
I don't know. I guess
I love Terrace House, but it's more of that like reality TV show.
I guess that would. I guess. I mean, something that you feel like in explaining that you have to qualify liking. That's I guess what I would refer to as a guilty pleasure.
I see.
It's like I went through a phase in high school where I watched a lot of TLC, and I'd watch like Say Yes to the Dress, like a lot. I went there was one summer I watched like Say Yes to the Dress all the time, and that was one where I would be like, I don't know, like I just like the drama, you know, like I don't know, like it's or my sister used to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and that was a guilty pleasure show for her because she's like, I'm so interested in it, but I don't want to say that I like it. Ashamed to admit watching is what Cowboy says.
I feel like I don't. It's those aren't shows. Those are more of all of the drama that I sometimes keep up with, like YouTube
Yeah.
or like Twitch.
I feel like that's pretty
'Cause
pretty
it's
solid.
It's so interesting to just like be a bystander.
Sometimes
and
I
watch
don't
it.
even know who the people are really, but then I'll see something and I'm like,
yeah, I know. You just see
want
something pop up
to
and
read
like, oh,
all
what's
of it.
going on?
Yeah. Like someone that I follow, I don't even know how I ended up following this person, but I follow them and they like posted this whole thread the other day or a Google Drive about how the person that they were dating was dating a bunch of people at the same time. And I was like, I don't even really know you, but I saw you post pictures
Fall
with
into
this
the
guy.
thread and like,
Yeah.
oh, what's going on?
And I'm always like, holy shit, like, whoa, like, I can't believe all this happened. I don't know who any of these people are, but like, damn. Yeah.
Interesting to me how people are just like inherently drawn to this kind of conflict
Yeah.
or drama. Like so many people are just like, cause I've seen that on Facebook, on Twitter, where people are just like, they don't know any of this going on. They type in the comments and they just like eating popcorn.
Oh my god, yeah.
Cause so many people are just like there watching.
Like, they
But
want to
it's
know.
So interesting
Yeah.
to me. Like they
It's
just
like-
want to know.
It's someone's life too, but it's just so like, I mean, it just proves that like we're all just looking for content to consume, you know, in one shape or another. That's, yeah, I do that as well, for sure. Last night I was scrolling, doing that exact thing where I'm like, I know that I shouldn't be so interested in this because I don't know these people, but I want to know what happened and what's going on now.
I feel like I followed a lot of like random makeup community dramas. I mean, those are also really big on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I can't really miss them. But then sometimes I watch into a lot of these actual, you know, commentaries about, oh, this happened and this is what happened and this is what happened. I don't know. It's very, very interesting.
Okay, I think that was the last real question from chat. I always have a big list of questions just in case, you know, in the off chance that I don't have enough to talk about, you know, like in the situations in which like the person and I like don't have like anything in common, or you know, like nothing happens naturally, but thankfully obviously we have a pretty big similar interest, so there's a lot of really cool things, and I'm content. Like, I don't need to read from this list, honestly. It's just there in case I need it, and I feel like I really appreciated the kind of discussions that we got to have across, you know,
Me
creativity
too.
across the industry. And if I'm ever in the area, I mean, I want to go to Canada at some point. It's always been a place that I've wanted to go. I'd love to like get coffee or something, and in a world in which
Yes,
that's
let me know.
normal.
And I will. I know for sure sometime down the line I'll be in LA for something. I have so many things going on in terms of like film and content that I just like. I want to avoid it. I don't want to go to LA, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna end up there. at some
If you end
point.
up there, I'll, you know, and we're in an era in which it's possible, I will absolutely take you to dinner or whatever, because I'd love to just get to hang out and chat more, because your passion is inspiring and it's infectious, and you're a very kind person. You're very easy to talk to, and I really appreciate just the conversations that I was able to have with you. And just, I don't know, again, like your passion, it's infectious and it's inspiring, and I don't know, you give off such a good energy, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, I can say the same about you too.
I think, yeah, so those were the last comments. I don't know if you have anything you want to promote, if you have like your social media or YouTube channel that you want to promote, or places that people could look for when you are posting updates about the film that you're working on, the documentary and stuff. But feel free to promote anything that you have upcoming that you'd like to promote. I linked your Twitch channel is in the chat. So anything else,
perfect. Thank
feel
you.
free to
Thank you.
share.
Yeah, for anyone who's actually interested, like, please go and subscribe to my YouTube. Everything's going to be on there. In terms of the documentary, I want it to be like an episodic series, where it follows basically, I guess, almost in a dramatized way, where it's like me as a protagonist making the film. So that all of those updates are going to be on YouTube. I will be on Twitch sometime the end of this month for like one stream, and then I don't know when the next one's gonna be. So I have no idea. I do want Twitch still to be a thing that, keeps me going and all that. But Instagram and YouTube is probably the best bet in keeping updated with everything that I'm doing.
Are your usernames the same?
Yes. It should be Cynzyy, either with one Y or with two Ys, depending on where you are. I think it's one Y on YouTube and two Ys on Instagram.
Okay, I think Cowboy linked your Cowboy linked your YouTube.
Oh, you did.
So you can go check out the YouTube there. I'm assuming you probably also have links on YouTube then, maybe for other media. I don't know if you.
Yeah, they should be all there. There should be somewhere. Yeah, somewhere they're all there.
But absolutely, guys, go and show your support. Go check out all of her links. Go check out all of her social media, her YouTube. Go look at her content and support this truly amazing human. And hopefully at some point, I mean, I've already had it in my mind that I'd love to have you back on at some point in the future, just to, hopefully if it's down the line past your movie, we can talk about that. That would be super cool to get to talk about that with you. Talk about the documentary and everything as well, because I'd love to hear your perspective after the fact. And yeah, thank you again so much for taking the time to be here. I really appreciate it. And again, had such a great time talking to you. And you're just kind of one of those people that feels like a friend already. It's, it's really easy to feel comfortable with you.
Yeah,
and
that's how I feel too. Yeah.
So again, if you ever need anything, I'm around. Hit me up. I absolutely adore and respect you infinitely. So if there's ever anything I can do to help in any of your processes, I'm not as multifaceted as you, but I am, I would be absolutely willing to help. Or if you're doing a project in the area and you need someone to hold a boom mic, I got you. I'll work on my upper body strength. But yeah,
doing push-ups now.
Oh yeah, I know. I'll go lift some weights and stuff in preparation. I'll just walk around with a pole above my head at all times.
Oh my god, I can't imagine how people do it.
I know. I'm like, you've got to have some insane upper body strength for that. But I wish you the absolute best in all of that, that process. I again am so happy to hear about all the things that you've got going on and all the things that you're looking forward to, and I absolutely cannot wait to see your short film, because I think it's going to be super awesome, and just
cannot wait to show any part of it.
I just feel like your passion will absolutely come through, and that's what I'm super excited about. Yeah. So
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no worries. All right, guys, you know the drill. Go follow her Twitch, subscribe to her YouTube, subscribe to her Twitch. Do that. Go follow her on Instagram, on Twitter, all the social media, on TikTok. Do it. Go show all of your love and support.
Oh my god.
You had an absolutely amazing I can't remember which challenge it was called. I saw it on your Twitter, I think. It's the one where people are in a robe and then they drop down and usually they're twerking, but you were like Bernie Sanders. That was my favorite thing in the whole world. It was so good.
My TikTok is kind of wild. It's an interesting place to be.
I have to go. I don't use my TikTok that much, but I'm gonna go follow you on TikTok because I need that content. I need that content in my life for sure. But guys, please go and support this wonderful human. So thank you so much. I'll switch us over to the promo screen just so they can see your beautiful face again, and as I say goodbye and disconnect with you, but I just want to give you a chance to say goodbye to everyone before we do that. All right, guys, I will be right back, but again, you know the drill. Go follow her, go support her, show her all of the love. All right. Bye.
Bye.